Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners. This episode of Word Balloon is brought to you by AlexRossArt.com. Alex is a brand new graphic novel coming out from Marvel and Abrams Books. Fantastic Four, Full Circle. It comes out September 6th. It's a rainy night in Manhattan, and not a creature is stirring except for the Thing, Ben Grimm. When an intruder suddenly appears inside the Baxter Building, the Fantastic Four find themselves surrounded by a swarm of invading parasites. These carrion creatures, composed of negative energy, come to Earth using a human host as a delivery system. But for what purpose? And who is behind this untimely invasion? The Fantastic Four have no choice but to journey to the Negative Zone, an alien universe comprised entirely of antimatter, risking not just their own lives, but the fate of the cosmos. Fantastic Four, Full Circle is the first long-form work written and illustrated by acclaimed artist Alex Ross, who revisits a classic Lee Kirby story from the 60s and introduces the storyline for a new generation of readers. Bold, vivid colors, his trademark visual storytelling, Ross takes Marvel's first team of superheroes to places only he can illustrate. The book also features a special poster jacket with the front flap unfolding to reveal an all-new fully painted origin story of the Fantastic Four. Again, Fantastic Four, Full Circle, out September 6th. For more details, go to AlexRossArt.com. Welcome back, everybody. Look, Mitch is already reading the product. Very nice.
Hi, guys. I was just reading this beautiful new book by Alex Ross. You might have heard about it. In fact, I got the deluxe edition, the slipcase, limited to only 3,000.
Wow, very nice. Wow.
Very good book. And
Yes, it is.
go out and get it, kids.
Word Balloon audience who doesn't know, I had that conversation with Alex about the book last Wednesday. It is here on YouTube on the Word Balloon channel. It's also an audio podcast and doing quite well. But welcome back to another Trek Watch, everybody. John Suntress here. We got Wayne. We got Mitch. And we got a shitty episode of Lower Decks to talk about. Good Lord. I'm sorry. I don't even remember the name. I don't want to remember. Something about Room for Growth, I believe.
Yeah.
Something. I believe that's the title. And yeah, the Lower Decks plot was they want a better quarters and find out there's a lottery. And in a very stupid sounding kind of thing, they decide to go through a wacky maze through the ship to fix the computers so that they'll win. And then the Freeman story was she took all the engineers to a relaxation ship, not a station. And the only good thing about that was it was another member of Mr. Eric's alien race. But yeah, I didn't care for it. Gentlemen, your thoughts?
Mitch?
Pretty much. It sucked.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I did tell John this. I had to rewatch it today because I forgot after watching it on Friday.
See? That happens to me all the time. I watch it on Thursdays, and then by the time we do the show, I can't remember. And I'm like, wait, did I watch it? And then I go, oh, yeah.
Now, I mean, again, forgive me really fast. When in the history of Star Trek, even the shitty ones, are we like, and granted, a lot of the reruns, but I'm saying, again, we're old enough that we remember the Berman ones when they come out weekly. And even Voyager in its most like, all right, we're just kind of going through the motions. I never felt like, what happened again?
Remember the time the Star Trek Next Generation crew was being de-evolved into animals and Captain Picard was going to become a meerkat?
Yeah, season 7.
Remember the God thing with the sun mask and stuff?
Yes,
these are shitty episodes, but you remember them even though they're shitty. When they got turned into little kids.
That was a decent joke. That was a decent joke at the opening. that Freeman had one of those masks.
Yeah, well, that's what I remembered that. I was like, oh, that was a shitty episode, making fun of a shitty episode. Interesting.
Langley has a bunch of thoughts, and I'm happy to share.
Oh, yeah,
By the way,
please,
Langley, if you want to join us, we actually sent you a link. This episode demonstrated to me I would rather see the Lower Decks concept in dramatic form than this kind of comedy.
Yeah.
I chuckled once. That's it. It's so weird. It's so weird, if I could be John Travolta for a second, because this show knows Trek lore, but fails at the underlying premise comedy. Absolutely. It also felt like the characters aren't in the universe, but are just Star Trek franchise fans.
Yeah.
So goddamn true. So true. Rob Burnett, my good buddy that does his own YouTube stuff, last night read like a couple articles critiquing New Trek in general, and it said the same thing. And I've said it before. They play at Star Trek. It is so surface Star Trek. They really don't understand the guts of Star Trek, and I don't think they're capable of writing smart science fiction. That said, in these 2.5 seasons of Lower Decks, there have been a couple episodes that are clever. I mean, again, I'll point to last season, and when we saw the Lower Decks of all the different alien races and stuff, it was a really clever episode. I give them a lot of credit for that. But there's more shit than gold, I think.
I told you this was like 2 B stories put together. You're in trouble then. Like you always get the B plot. Like there's the main story, and then there's the other one. They like, oh, we got this and this, and they put them together into one show. And I'm like, okay.
I knew what you're saying, Mitch, but I would say given it's a comedy,
yeah,
it would lend itself more to be kind of plots of an hour, and also the fact that it's only 25 minutes or whatever, or even less. So I totally hear what you're saying, but yeah, I that doesn't bother me as much because the whole show really is mostly personal stories. I guess usually the bridge crew is doing some sort of big thing, but I also don't want them to fall into a rut. And I believe, sadly, these kind of middling episodes are showing maybe they're running out of really clever ideas.
Well, you can't. How could you run out of ideas on Star Trek, for God's sakes? You could take any whatever. You know what? You ever watch Saturday Night Live when the sketch goes too long and you sit there and you can't wait for it to end, or there's those sketches towards the last 30 minutes of Saturday Night Live that are really bad, but they put them on anyway, and you go, wow, no one's laughing. That's what this felt like. It was like, wow, this isn't funny. There was nothing. Oh, the captain, it was a one joke setup.
Yes,
she's stressed out and she can't calm down.
Well, and that the engineers can't stop, making stuff. And it's like, and also again, I don't think it's that funny because I think back to The Trouble with Tribbles, where Kirk can find Scotty to his quarters. He's like, "Hey, great, I can catch up on my technical manual." Yeah, and it's like whatever. I like what Stuart says here, and he's right. And goddamn, I didn't even think of that. And it's really, whatever, but they literally going through the bowels of the ship like that. Yeah. They were aping Galaxy Quest badly. Yeah. And it's like, and like you just said, Mitch, I mean, you would think there are literally 700 plus episodes of everything through the Berman era to mine for different ideas. And I just think this really they were pitching underhand this week. It was a shitty episode.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's just, I don't even know.
Hey man, I'm lost. I mean, why beat the dead horse? Why beat the dead horse? It is.
It's beating a dead horse because you would think there's enough lore. Okay, worst case, start reading a book.
Yeah.
Go through the novels, go through Wikipedia, go through the books they'll do the plot synopsis of all the novels. Go through there, try to dig up some nugget.
Well, and Wayne, they are doing that on the live action shows. I mean, really. Number one's whole backstory in Strange New Worlds, they lifted it from that DC Fontana book, Vulcan Heart. So yeah, and there are other episodes of Strange New Worlds that Ursula Le Guin novel or short story, I can't remember which, but where the kid is wired to the the machine and everything. That was all So yeah, I don't know, man. Again,
we used to make jokes. Remember back on Star Trek Next Generation, they showed was it the Beta crew? It was the crew that came in at the night shift, basically.
Yeah.
Like when the main guys left, they said, see, me and my buddy, we used to be in the art department. We used to tell stories about, imagine those guys, like you come in and you come into your desk the next day and the chairs moved around. It's like, who was sitting in my chair? And there's a coffee cup. They did it on Orville, like the guy was slurping his cup at the stations. Like, could you carve that down? And Borges was smoking at the time. So there's a lot of fun, just little stuff like that. You could just do like, hey, who's the guy that has to like clean the holodeck? I think they mention it once or twice, like, oh, somebody was in there doing something, but it's like, okay, but there's all these weird things about living in space that would be like funny, like the replicators. Like, remember they eat shit in the new ones? Well, when did that start to happen? Maybe it was like they were going to introduce it in this time frame or something. I'm like, there's got to be something funny.
Well, and also they having this other Delta shift that they're competing against. It's like, all right, fine. Well, Admiral Jellicoe or Captain Jellicoe. You can see in the books. In the books, he gets promoted to Admiral Jellicoe. But yeah, Jellicoe wants a Delta shift. And okay, and you're right, Mitch. That's an opportunity to tell that story. But instead, again, just like I said last week, it's this My Little Pony friendship is magic bullshit. Yeah. Hey, let's all be friends and let's all work together. And isn't this great that we like each other when we didn't like each other before? And it's just like you just want to punch them with like it is insipid. It is why are you wasting our time with crap?
Rutherford was upset that they didn't put his name anyways into the lottery.
Yeah. And when they're all sitting together. And then they go, oh, you guys aren't so bad. And then faked you out. And they ran over. And we're going to beat them to it. I'm like, wait, this is so not Starfleet. And I can go into that because they're all like one big family. They don't use money. They all work together for the common good. They're not going to be like tripping you before the finish line to get in first place because that's not what they do in Starfleet. It's all one big happy family, like Khan used to say.
Well, for the cause. I mean, you're right. No, it's esprit de corps. But again, that's military. And we don't like military. And, Starfleet really isn't military. Yes, it is. Yeah. I'm sorry. Again, you don't understand what you are making fun of. I keep trying to find out from my inside sources. I'm like, are they heavily noted? I mean, and also, again, tone. Because they have these terrible fourth grade friendship is magic BS messages. Yeah. And then also they're in their underwear. We got aliens screwing other aliens and everything else. Yeah. It's like what is this show?
I don't want to say anything about the underwear shop, but I was going to screenshot it and send it to you guys going, is it just me or is there like a weird angle going on here? It's like, like crotch shot right in the front screen. I was like, whoa.
And they had the co-ed showers and you had you had black bars. But you had Mariner like underboob or whatever.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. They're like, it's like, what's the tone here? What are you going for?
You don't know who's the age group. Is it teenagers and up? Is it adults? It's not little kids because
it's definitely not Y7. But that's the only. And also, man, I caught up on Rick and Morty. Yeah. It is so brilliant still, and again, Mike McMahon, he gets Star Trek. He's a fan. It is so obvious, and that's why it's like. Maybe he's putting out these Rick and Morty kind of subversive stories, and they're like, no, that's too edgy. Tone it down.
Well, it could be he's distracted. You can't do everything. I remember when Northern Exposure was on.
Distracted by what? Hold on.
No. Here's what happened. When Northern Exposure was on, they went off and did another show called Due South, which was about a medical team out in the islands, like Jamaica. Right. And the main show started to suffer because the creators at Falsley, and Joshua Brand, they were trying to do too many. So maybe he's can't do both at the same time.
Well, I don't think he's on Rick and Morty anymore, buddy.
Oh, I was going to say maybe he's just too much on his plate. So that's not.
I'm saying just coming from Rick and Morty and doing smart things like Pickle Rick. I believe he wrote Pickle Rick.
No, he didn't.
Oh, okay. No. Look him up, Wayne. You're our tech guy.
Yeah. The only thing I could say is you take a show like Prodigy.
Yes.
And characters are well written. There's conflict between them. The stories are interesting. Why can't we have that for Lower Decks? Like, how hard is it to take the Nickelodeon model or the style and try to apply that type of writing aspects into attributes into?
Yes. No, they get the framework of Star Trek. They understand. They really do. And you're right. I think there's good, despite it being a tweener show. Good character conflict and interesting ideas. And I'm really looking forward to the back end of season 1 as Admiral Janeway is pursuing them and trying to get Star Drive.
I wouldn't mind if Lower Decks did like, oh, let's do a takeoff of Cheers, but we'll set it in Quark's bar, and the
Sure.
team beams down to Deep Space Nine, and they do the whole opening like where everybody knows your name, and the whole thing is like a like a spoof.
Well,
But Morn is there instead of Norm, and then you got Rutherford could be the Cliff Clavin, and you can do like this. You don't even have to think hard. You
I
just
hear
have
you,
to
but-
take existing shows and just spin it on its head. Like, hey, let's do. Futurama used to do that. They would make fun of like, oh, here's a MASH episode, and
sure.
it's another sci-fi show that actually is funny.
As support for John's conspiracy theories, Mike is also on Solar Opposites, which is a funny show.
There you go, and it is a more subversive and funny show.
And it is
what
more
channel is that on?
Hulu.
Hulu. So maybe because you could be right, there could be oversight. That's really
way to go, Mitch. Very good. You're right. I
don't know. There's
assume
somebody's asleep at the wheel. That's all I got to tell you because this show is too inconsistent.
I just assume the speed that they're churning out these seasons, that he's totally on Lower Decks. But that's interesting if he's still with.
Yeah, he's on Solar Opposites and Lower Decks at the same time.
Wow, interesting. Very interesting. Comment from Stuart. In my mind, the de-stress machine was a fake.
Yeah.
Captain Freeman went along to the ruse to get off the spy ship. That would have been much more satisfying if the de-stress machine was a fake. Yeah, okay. I mean, again, man, I don't know, man. You're polishing a turd as far as I'm concerned.
Did you laugh when the 3-arm thing from the old cartoon show just like I can't take and I'm assuming it was a cigarette or whatever that was.
I wouldn't assume it was a cigarette. It was too thick for a cigarette.
It was too thick, yeah. But I was like, that was kind of like the only time I thought was kind of funny when the person in charge of the de-stress thing was freaking out. I was like, that's funny. But that was it. That was a stretch,
Oh, this is interesting. I haven't read it yet. Wesley wants to know if we have read from IDW Star Trek 400 and did the prelude to #1 mean anything to you? I have not read it. Feel free, Wesley, to give us your review. I may not be deep enough into the lore to understand. Oh, I don't know. That's hilarious. Stuart says Lower Decks should or could play with Lost in Space.
See?
Star Galactica, Babylon 5, certainly. But again, I just as I've said to the guys, and I've got images. Wayne was kind enough and really sacrificed his brain power to read the IDW Lower Decks comic, and I'm just here. Like again, whenever real fast here, just this first page and stuff. It's like whenever Mariner is like, she's either got the hooded eyes, like, oh, I know, aren't I cool, or angry. It's like I can't stand her. I cannot.
Even the comic sucks.
Yeah.
Well, Wayne, was the comic book funnier than the show?
No.
Show the cover.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I blocked you with the page before. There it is. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to zoom in. There we go.
Look at that. Really going where no one is going.
See, there are the eyes. There are the eyes. Aren't I cool? I know everything.
Yeah.
Crap.
Now,
Captain from crap.
How many copies do they have at your shop? Because mine didn't even order them because I was looking.
I think about 5 or 6
of
the like maybe 2 or 3 of the. Again, I don't know how many went on subscription because I just picked it off the shelf.
Yeah.
And there was cover A and I think a cover B. So, but my biggest, one of my problems with it is, you remember the editorial notes in Marvel Comics where you could read the editorial notes?
Yeah.
You can't read the notes in this. The font size is so small. John, put up that picture again of with Mariner.
Sure, hang on. Here we go.
Okay, see right at the bottom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now,
it's like an eye chart.
Oh yeah, God forbid you can actually read it. It is so small. It is. I had to read the comic again, and sometimes I used my iPad to sort of magnify the page.
Sure.
Because, and all it is, it's little asides from the writer going, "Oh, here I'm being smart and cute," but it'd be nice if you could read it.
Oh, I did like. So they're like, like you said, editorial notes for Marvel. See Cap 41 for more details.
Yeah, it's similar. It's a similar idea, but what it is the writer's just commenting on what's happening on the page, and it is so hard to read it, and it gets frustrating because you're going, what do I need to do to blow this up?
Wait, the writers are commenting about the comic book story, like they're breaking the fourth wall, like
breaking the fourth wall on it.
Well, that's kind of goofy. I mean, the Marvel stuff used to be like, hey, remember
Oh yeah,
this
no,
issue
no.
or this
I was
character?
just using it as a comparison, but you could actually read the editorial notes
Yeah.
in the
I
Marvel.
thought
You
that was
can't read them.
copyright stuff when you showed me, like, trademark, copyright, Paramount
No,
Pictures.
no, that is
That's what I
them.
thought.
That's
I
them
thought that's
talking
what it
about the
was.
book. Now, there's 3 stories. The first is like a throwaway story dealing with, remember the space hippie episode
Yeah.
from
of
the
course.
original series?
Of course.
Journey
Yeah.
to Eden.
Yeah, the way
Yeah.
to Eden. Absolutely.
Way to Eden. So these people are getting fired upon by these other aliens, and it's because they called them Herberts.
Oh my God!
remember
Really?
that.
That's a stretch.
Yeah.
Herbert.
Well,
Yeah.
that's okay. I don't mind
Yeah.
that.
They called them Herberts, and then the Cerritos gets in because they're Federation members of the Federation to protect them, and they go, "Oh no, we're renegades, so we're not a part of the Federation." Anyways,
So
it
wait,
ends
that's
up
one of
that
the
they
stories?
saved them
That
no
was-
matter what.
That's one of the stories. Is they run
That's
into
that's
space
the
hippie?
beginning. That's sort of like the cold open.
Oh,
Oh no, that's not that. It's the cold open.
I see.
So, and then there's 2 stories. The first story is the Cerritos is going in to this planet that doesn't have warp capabilities, but is more advanced than current Federation.
Mhm.
So somehow they don't travel, but they actually have. Oh, okay.
He's yeah. All right. If you're gonna read, then you have to say what you're reading. But that's fine.
Yeah.
Wesley says he's a physical copy and could read the notes fine. Maybe it's just Wayne's issue. That's possible, I guess. But no,
It could
continue your
be-
thought, Wayne. I didn't mean
It
to
could
throw
be
you
our
off.
yeah,
eyes
no
are not. We're not as young as his eyes.
We're not as young, but yeah, no, it is small. It
Whatever,
could be
what
my
were you
copy.
saying?
Whatever.
What-
Anyways,
start your thought
so
again.
the first story is Cerritos is going to a planet that's technologically advanced. There's lots of problems to get to it. The second story is it's a Dixon Hill story on the holodeck with Boimler, Tandy, and Mariner. That's what you see in that. And then
Oh, okay.
Mariner's all pissed off because, hey, I don't like this. This is boring. This is old timey. Let's do something on the Enterprise. And then there's an image I sent you with all the different bridges. Yeah, the different bridges of the Enterprise. So, and then they just get into it where they go back into old-timey England. They start arguing with each other about turning off the holodeck security programs, safety programs,
protocols. Yeah.
safety protocols, because
Sure.
they wanted to. They talk about the episode where they brought to life James Moriarty and he took
Yeah.
over the Enterprise.
Yeah.
So they said there's protocols in place that this will never happen again. Well, of course, Tandy and Mariner, they go through it and say, hey, I want you to create this super intelligent person. Computer says, can't do that, can't do that. Now, as the Cerritos is going to the planet, it gets hit with an energy, just like what happened in the episode. So what they did was they created a Dracula. So they created Dracula as the non-sentient bad guy, and
Right.
then Dracula comes to life. And then they lock him into the holodeck, and because
I love this book report. Go on.
yeah, the holodeck, because the hologram doctor from Voyager is pushing for hologram rights. They now have to take this Dracula that's possibly sentient to be tested to see if he is sentient. And it attacked
That
Mariner.
could be funny. No, it wasn't funny because that sounds kind of funny.
Well,
And
you know what's so
sounds-
funny?
that's certainly
that-
more clever than an episode.
I think
That's-
that's
That
I think it's
story about them going to like meeting Dracula and stuff,
Yeah.
and Dracula being real. That's an old Doctor Who. That's when you started saying
Yeah,
it
the
clicked
Planet
to
of
me.
the
I go, Wait,
Vampires,
I've seen this story
I'd
before.
forgotten
It was like
I'd forgotten
a
that.
Patrick Troughton episode.
Oh,
I guess.
that's easy.
Or
That,
maybe
I mean,
Pertwee.
again, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Dracula's there. He's public domain. Why not?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah, and that's what they mentioned in the notes is that because he's public domain, they can do whatever they want.
Oh, okay.
I think
Langley
Is this
can't
a-
join us. He's watching on a mobile, so his connection's not good. Okay, buddy.
Was this a one shot, Wayne? or is
no,
this
it's an ongoing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see
We'll see.
how
We'll
ongoing
see.
it is.
Anyways, they trap him, but he gets out of the security area that Mariner put him into.
Yeah.
Now, they do land the shuttle on this planet, but it's not as technically advanced as they thought it was. and they've broken the Prime Directive.
Oh,
It seems to be like a medieval type of civilization. So there's some issue. Did they get the wrong coordinates? And then it says to be continued. Well, here we go. This will do it.
Hold on. Okay, hang on a second.
Yeah.
All right, there we
yeah,
go.
there's
There
the
we go.
captain. Yeah,
And then Dracula, he doesn't get put away.
yeah. Well,
I don't know. I read
the
it.
artwork.
But
The artwork's nice. It's
Oh, yeah, it's
consistent to the
spot on.
show. Yeah.
very spot on.
Well, and again, it's you. Wayne and I were talking before we started recording, and he thought it was too spot on, that it was almost maybe computer generated or whatever. I have no idea. All I can say is most licensed comics these days are very much on model,
Yeah.
and I know they're still drawn. I know buddies like Hilary Barta, did his SpongeBob comics and Simpsons comics back in the day, and they were very accurate. But it was him drawing. And I could say that about again Rick and Morty comics and the like. But yeah, I think licensed comics have really only gotten better, and the majority of IDW Trek comics are amazing and really smart and well written and well thought out, and great writers that are really doing ambitious ideas. I haven't gotten that Star Trek 400. I kind of want to, and right off the bat, I'm just checking on some reviews of Star Trek 400, and most of them are very positive. So
And
Did
Chris
that
is
just
a
come
bit
out
very-
this week? I didn't see that at my shop.
I don't, oh hey, Declan Shelby even wrote a story for
Yep.
my buddy Dick.
So, and
Oh,
then
look.
you'll have a page with Badgie explaining all
Badgie.
Stand
the
by.
special little
Yeah, I've got that. baby.
references to. Yeah, I sent that one to you.
There you go.
So Badgie explains all the different references that were made to in the book to.
all the member berries. They got to tell
Yeah.
you, just in case you didn't know. Here's where
Yep.
we got this stuff
Yep.
from.
But
Thanks,
I
Badgie.
will admit, reading it and especially reading that small font just turned me off because it's like I have to struggle reading a comic book,
Yeah, that's not good.
and that's not good. I think that's what it could be a funny story at the end of the day.
How much was it? $3.99?
Oh, let's see, $6.99.
$6.99 for
How
that?
many pages?
Oh, for
How many pages is it?
20 something, right?
It looks thicker than 20.
Well, yeah, but there's a lot of crap in it.
Yeah.
Like
ads.
what other kind of crap is in there?
Wait. 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30 pages of story.
Okay.
Wrong.
2, 1,
But IDW comics are always a little
3.
more expensive.
6 pages of pinup. Then you have Badgie. Then you have
Stand by.
you got the hey. What are the differences between these two images?
Are you kidding me?
I am
What's
not
it got?
kidding you.
It's like
Like
a kid book.
book. Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, that's sad.
Okay.
Woof.
Desperate.
Woof.
Yeah, and then ads.
Yeah.
No, of course. Of
House
course.
ads. Yeah.
Yeah,
They didn't
so
put a Mad Folding in the back cover either, for God's sakes. That would have been worth it.
I could do that right now.
No. I said, don't. Dave, that's mint. That book's mint now.
Oh,
That's
it's not
mint.
mint.
CGC.
I had to bend it to get it into the scanner.
I completely agree with Chris. On the bright side, the Orville comics are
That's
amazing.
true. That's
Very
true.
well. David Goodman, one of the Orville writers, wrote the Orville comics. So absolutely.
They were
And
great,
like these
actually. I
are
picked them
freaking
all up for
highlights of
the
the Trek,
Terrificon.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And puzzle in the comic means it's for kids. Exactly.
Yeah, just like the show. Yeah.
Shit. Good Lord.
Wow.
See, I
Wow.
didn't look at the price because I picked it up with my subscription.
Yeah.
I should have looked to see if they at least gave me the discount.
$7.
how much-
Jesus.
How much is Star Trek 400? Because I bet that's even more expensive.
Marvel does those big books that are like $10 sometimes, but
Oh.
they're pretty thick, you know?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, man. It's no, you're getting like 64 pages. $7.99 is the Star Trek 400 price, and now is it? I don't know how many pages
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah,
But
maybe
Will
it's
Wheaton
because
also
it's
wrote a story
licensed.
for it.
Because this was Marvel's big book that came out for Spider-Man a couple months ago. It was only $5.99, and it's like a double-sized book, but they got Disney money, so
I don't know what's going on with the price point of individual comics these days.
It's
Yeah.
60 pages long, John.
Oh, for Star Trek 400.
Yeah.
That's all right. So wait, that's $7.99, and Lower Decks was for 30 pages.
$6.99.
$1 cheaper. Yeah.
Interesting, and twice the size.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I wonder if they have those. One of these things is not like the other.
Well, you just did those. Two
Oh
pages.
no!
Maybe they got
in
one of those
the Star Trek
mazes in the
400.
back. You gotta, find.
Oh, you're saying for Star Trek 400? I don't know.
Just search for Spock. You got to go like, where's Waldo? You got to find him in the big galaxy.
I finished reading the 3-novel original series story called Crucible from a couple of years ago, and I have to say that sadly, it went from McCoy's book was amazing. Spock's book was really, really great, but I would say a slight cut under the McCoy book. The Kirk book was a little less satisfying, and it was the final chapter. But essentially, it was how the Edith Keeler experience impacted all of them. And man, the McCoy one was amazing because, as I told you guys, so you could read them individually and be very satisfied. The McCoy one literally goes from City on the Edge of Forever to his death, and it's amazing. And really, that's that. As always, it's not the ending; it's the journey. Everything that happens to McCoy in the Prime timeline and this alternate timeline, had he not been rescued by Kirk and Spock and stayed back in the 30s, continues into the 50s, and it's Leonard McCoy trying to acclimate himself in the 20th century, and it's outstanding. And it's these parallel stories, and it references other Star Trek episodes, but then it goes beyond the movies, and it's after Generations, where Jim is dead, and Spock and McCoy stay in touch and everything, and it really deepens their friendship in very amazing ways. So I can't recommend Crucible McCoy more as a really satisfying original series read. It really blew me away.
It has Dr. McCoy dying at the end.
Yeah.
How old was he? 140.
Well, like you see him in Next Gen when he's
137,
something like that. But yeah, and it's just so touching, and his final conversation with Spock before he dies. It's perfect because deep down that Leonard loves him, and also it's like Spock is basically like, even at the end he calls him Leonard, and it's just like, that's again, and I just want to mention it because I just want to show that I'm not a Star Trek hater. I love good Star Trek. That's just not what we're getting from New Trek, and we all know it. Man.
So his last words weren't Rosebud?
Yeah, Rosebud.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, what happens to him during the original series when they go more into his private life and subsequent after the original series movies, it's really, really interesting. And Spock too. And and really, again, it's just a slight undercut of Spock, but there are really interesting ideas in the Spock book. The ramifications of Jim dying really impact Spock and a lot of his life choices. And there's a period between what we see in the Next Gen 2-parter and immediately after Generations, that area of Spock's life where there's a lot of interesting choices. I don't want to spoil, but it's really, I mean, the writer really did a great job capturing their voices. The Kirk story was a little hokey. Yeah, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. It
doesn't have Spock going into the JJ universe.
It's all right. I got to think of how it ends and everything. I believe it's prior to all that. Hold on.
And another good read is Leonard McCoy.
John Byrne,
Frontier Doctor.
I remember it well.
Byrne, yeah, I remember that.
Hey, I want them to make a Carl Urban movie or miniseries about that. I think it'd be great.
Perfect.
I remember reading it right away. Hey man, Byrne is a massive Star Trek fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, Langley says, I still imagine what Generations would have been like with the main three from TOS. In the Kirk book in Crucible, they replay that footage that didn't make the final cut of Scotty and Chekhov meeting Kirk when he parachutes to the landing point.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
They even have dinner before they go to the Enterprise B. And there's a whole backstory of Starfleet going to him and saying, look, we just want you back for one day. It would really help boost, the PR for Starfleet. Please just go on the Enterprise B. And it's like, of course we all know it's like, don't do it. Don't do it. It was hilarious. But so there are moments in the Kirk book that are fun, but I'm telling you, the McCoy book, because again, sadly, with the original series, it was it was Shatner's show, and it was occasionally Nimoy's show. So you only got a handful of really good McCoy episodes, and I mean that's an untapped world of like really let's explore the original series through McCoy's eyes and experiences. And another great McCoy book that I love is called Doctor's Orders. It's a novel, and I've talked about it before, where at the beginning, McCoy's all snarky to Kirk about, man, you got it made. You sit in that center chair. Everybody follows your orders, whatever. And he's like, oh, you think it's easy? Fine. You're a direct order. You got to sit in the chair. And then he goes off world and he goes missing. And it was a direct order. So Spock can't relieve McCoy. And all of a sudden the Klingons show up, guns blazing. And you see McCoy as captain and what he's got to do. And it's at one point, and I've said this before, it's my favorite joke in the book. He goes, well, do I at least get a bathroom break? And Spock goes, well, technically, yes, but the captain would have said you should have taken care of that before you sat down. So, oh, God damn it, man. I don't know. Yeah, right. Langley gets what I'm saying again. Criticism comes from a place of deep love. We all want Trek to be better, knock it out of the park. I hate not liking Trek across the board. Well, again, yeah. And even these, Rob mentioned these two, Burnett mentioned these two articles that were a little more critical about New Trek. And they even said, Strange New Worlds is the best of the new stuff, but are we just settling? I mean, aren't they, and kind of pointed out some of the limitations of Strange New Worlds? I don't know.
Honestly, on that point, if Strange New Worlds came out first before Discovery, we probably would have said, oh man, they're just rehashing freaking old Star Trek stuff here. And we might have complained, but now that we've had shitty Star Trek for 3 or 4 years, this is like a relief. This is like, oh wow, this is what I've been missing. But I'm just saying, because just like with the Star Wars movies, when they kind of just rehash the original, people are like, this is a remake of the first movie. Don't tell me, oh, there's new characters. You could point for point plot. It's the same damn story. You just kind of dressed it up a little bit.
I gently disagree, Mitch, in terms of, I think literally, especially diehards, we all want the Christopher Pike story. We've always wanted the Christopher Pike story. Once the Cage and really even the Menagerie opened this door of, oh man, can you imagine reading and watching stories from the Pike era? And thank God we've had the novels and the comics that did a good job of doing it. So I hear what you're saying. I don't think those criticisms, what we might have gotten was, again, what we're still saying in terms of the stories aren't deep enough. I think that's the big knock on Strange New Worlds. It's just that, we're very, again, much like Lower Decks. I liked the story with the kid and all the wires in him and stuff. That was a good Star Trek story. The one where they were negotiating with the race that kind of adapted to whatever emotion was being shown and stuff. Yeah. That was pretty good. That was pretty clever. The Orion Pirates didn't give a shit. That ended with Sybok and everything. The storybook one was, of course, horrendous. Yeah. And Balance of Terror, again, just showed their notch under. And maybe that's where, Mitch, the criticism where you're right, where they'd be like, hey, don't rehash an old episode. Give us something new. Because I do think formulaically, if that's a word, we want it to be a Star Trek trope. I mean, even Lower Decks manages to hit the formula. It's just, again, that's square one. You got to give us more.
Is it because it's episodic and standalone stories that the other shows suffer because they're that long 12 episode arc that you got to watch the whole thing? Maybe it's just too much.
Well, I think you can tell a 10-part story within Star Trek. And I'm really, again, I keep saying, because based on mostly what Rob says about what he's seen with Picard season 3, we're going to get a great 10-hour Next Generation movie out of it. That's what he keeps describing it as. So I think it's possible. Again, it comes down to the fucking writing. Yeah.
Going back to what Mitch said about the rehashing of the thing, I love Star Trek 2009, the first J.J. Abrams, because what it did was it said everything is in canon so it doesn't piss off the old people. And now let's tell brand new stories. Then they do Star Trek Beyond. Into Darkness. Into Darkness, and then they just tell Khan. It's like, why you had the opportunity to tell a new story. Why didn't you tell a new story?
The other YouTube show I'm on when I'm cheating on John is my friend and I do movie reviews, and we just did a 40th anniversary Wrath of Khan retrospect, and it's going to be on Tuesday. And
Cool.
we did it for like 40 minutes. We just talked about, when it came out. And then I mentioned that at the end. I go, why in God's earth did they ever take that J.J. Abrams movie and make a poor man's remake of Wrath of Khan and then switch it to Kirk killing himself instead of Spock and Benedict Cumberbatch being, it was so misguided from the day it started. It's like, oh, we're going to do Space Seed and we're going to do Wrath of Khan in one movie and the kids are going to love it. Never made any sense. That
And
one.
don't forget the Tribbles.
Yeah, that's right. The
Tribble
Tribbles
blood.
The Tribble blood. Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot that.
So
That's
stupid.
so stupid.
Well, and I guys, I liked 2009 Star Trek as well.
Yeah.
I have to agree with Rob. It's kind of like when it's the reverse of what Art Baltazar has said about pointing out all the good things in Superman 4, Quest for Peace, where, it's a terrible movie, but we got, he's thinking about selling the farm. We got Fortress of Solitude, Kryptonian ghosts and everything.
Yeah.
And all the goods. And, Clark is actually, I think, has a really good story in Quest for Peace. Well, the opposite of that, unfortunately, with 2009 Star Trek is the plot doesn't make sense. Nero has a chance to go to the Romulan homeworld and say, look, 100 years from now, red matter is going to give us a black hole and it's going to kill our planet. Don't do it. And instead, it's like, no, I need revenge.
Well,
it's
there was that whole subplot where they were captured in a Klingon prison camp for years, and that's why he couldn't do it. There was footage. I saw it on a deleted scene. Yeah, that, swear to God, Nero's captured into a Klingon prison camp. Oh, they had the whole Klingon like helmets, and they had
like they had an Ninja Dark.
And then he does a breakout, and when he breaks out, he gets a ship. I'm like, wait a minute, where did you park this massive freaking ship that no one noticed it?
The drilling ship, ridiculous.
So,
I don't know, man. I didn't know that. That's interesting.
No. It's on one of the DVDs. It's like a good 7 minutes of stuff, But going back to Wrath of Khan real quick, did you know, because I was researching the stuff,
please,
there was a scene about Khan's baby, or there was a little child on board Khan's ship. It was like his son.
Okay, sure.
I never heard of this before, but I was looking. They have scenes that they filmed the kid. There's the Genesis device in the transporter room about to blow up, and there's a little kid about 7 or 8 years old walking towards the Genesis about to touch it, and they cut it out of the movie because they didn't want people to say, "Oh wow, Captain Kirk let a little kid get killed. What the hell?"
Yeah.
So I never heard that one before.
I always assumed Joaquin, the blonde, Superman, who says yours is the superior intellect,
was his kid. Yeah.
I always assumed he was his son.
Yeah.
But whatever.
No, there's a whole other subplot. And did you know the reason why his wife wasn't on? The actress wasn't on there.
No.
She was suffering from multiple sclerosis.
Oh.
That's why they were originally going to bring her back, but she was really, couldn't move back. So they just killed her off. It works better with her being dead because that gives them motivation. But I never knew there was even a possibility that they were going to bring her on.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And that's sad.
You know why they went with that instead of Roddenberry's plot? You know the Roddenberry plot about them going back to the Kennedy assassination?
Yes.
Holy crap, was he smoking something? We know he was, but boy, Spock is going to be the trigger man at the end. It's like, what the frig? Get out of here. Just
I know
Spock
gets Kennedy. I know. It's grisly. Langley says regarding Wrath of Khan, they didn't even remake the Khan story. They didn't even remake the TOS Khan story instead of Wrath of Khan. That would have been more interesting. I agree with that. Really introduce him right from the beginning. And then he says they screwed that up because they removed the plot point of Khan being in prison for 30 years.
That's what I'm telling you about. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know. Wayne, you saw the motion picture.
There you go. If you want to watch good Trek.
That's nice.
That's beautiful, man.
That just come out?
Yeah.
Like a month ago, right?
Came out this week.
Oh.
So you get the theater version, you get the director's cut version, and you get the ABC movie of the week version that has all the extra footage.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. Stand by. Pulling it up. Boom.
All right.
Wow.
Nice.
I always love it. I always love a good cutaway poster. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think of
what's all? They give you some little goodies there.
Yeah, they give you little goodies. There's a little booklet.
Wow.
I remember this. Yeah, the program. Yeah.
Yeah, it has exactly. Like the storyboards and.
Wow. Look at that. That's amazing.
You get stickers.
Oh,
who doesn't
want stickers?
That's fantastic.
Some postcards. Haven't opened
Oh,
them
that's
Sure,
up.
why
cool.
not?
And bumper stickers.
Bumper stickers. Are they
Wow.
magnetic at least?
I'm a
No,
Trekkie.
you stick them to your car.
Oh, no one's going to do that.
No one's
ruin your
gonna do
paint
that.
job
And a poster.
and a poster. Oh, there you go.
Of course, the classic.
Oh, I
Right
like
here.
the bottom. That's a new thing with the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Um,
I did watch the director's cut. Oh my God, is it amazing in 4K?
is it?
That's awesome.
It's visually stunning.
I hear you, man. I'm going to pull back. Like Langley, although I have watched it on Paramount Plus, they are streaming the 4K of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, after they just wrapped this month, they did the Phantom presentations at Fathom
Yeah.
presentations of Wrath-A-Con at various
I've heard
theaters.
that. Yeah, I missed it. I wish I got to see that, but
So I don't know if we're going to get a 4K of whatever.
we
they
are.
do with that.
Yeah, we are getting the 4K versions. They're out already. All 6 movies are out in 4K.
I
So-
thought there was going to be a special con one in October. I heard.
Okay, maybe that one hasn't come out yet, but they are releasing them.
Yeah.
Plus the 6, and then if you buy the 6 movie set, it'll have the director's cut in the 6 movie collector package.
Yeah.
But this is the only one to get the television version.
Oh.
And I'm halfway through the television version. The images is not as good as the director's
Yeah.
cut, but
Sure.
that's fine. But it's interesting. And the funny thing is you're watching it. Oh my God, I do remember this scene where Sulu is fawning all over Ilya.
Oh yeah. She
Zulu
the
is-
pheromones.
yeah.
Yeah, what are
Yeah.
pheromones?
Right. Yeah. She. And by the way, that's another alien race that I would like to see brought back.
The Betazoids.
Deltans. You had that brief moment in
Delphi.
season. Yeah, you had that brief moment in season 2 of Picard where we saw Deltans, and in fact, one was
Deltans,
hitting on what's her face, Daj or whatever. Whatever. If she wasn't Soji or Daj, I forget which.
Oh, okay.
Is Israel Bronus or whatever her name is character. Honestly, man. All right, her and Romulan Legolas, and it's like some of these characters. It's like, of course, once you're on Star Trek, you're going to be on the convention circuit if you want to, but it's like, okay, now what with them? I just think they were so useless, especially Romulan Legolas. Good Lord.
Well,
Good Lord.
I was
take me
talking.
back to those production meetings and like what happened with their plans for that character, because I believe, and I think people have even said this, that initially and child relationship for Picard was going to be with Romulan Legolas instead of and then they decided no, let's do it with Soji or whatever her name was.
Yeah. I talked to Wayne. I talked to the guy. Remember I was telling you the guy that hangs out with Nicholas Meyer?
Yeah.
John, I was trying to get him to come on to your show, and I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
But he was telling me about the Star Trek, what do they call it? The convention out in Vegas.
Oh, the creation
one.
Yeah.
So he was telling me some of the people there, and I said, "Oh, who was there?" And there's Riker, and there was the people that from Strange New Worlds. Wayne saw those people, but some very obscure, quote unquote, actors, and I do use that quote because I was like, okay, Patrick Stewart stand-in from the stunts and stuff. I go, oh, okay, I guess.
But
that's
all right,
interesting.
he probably all those guys, and forgive me, Wayne, because Mitch, I do want to hear more. But all those guys that are behind the camera and the production people, they always have great stories. So I can see that guy having.
No, I know, but then there was this other actor, and you might know him when he's very old. I can't think of his name right now, but he was like the scorned red shirt from like Janice, a Mock Time or something. You know who I'm talking about? He's there. It's like, remember they're all in Heat. Was it the one? It wasn't a Mock Time. It was another one. The Naked Now, I think it is.
Probably Naked Now.
Yeah. And he
Or
was
Naked,
like trying to hit on Ensign Rand or Yeoman Rand. And she just like, get away from me. That guy, I don't even think he had a line in the movie, but he was at the Star Trek convention. And the guy's asking me if I want to bring him to my show. I'm like, I don't know about that. So, I mean, it's like Stormtrooper number 62. You know what I mean? It's like,
I remember the guy, he was in the Wolf in the Fold, the Scotty Jack the Ripper episode.
Yeah.
And he's one of the Argelians that is, prefect, I saw this happen or whatever. Not the older guy who knew the hot chick that gets stabbed. Yeah. But there's a younger prefect. I swear to you, I had nothing to do with it. And that guy used to make the convention rounds.
I know.
Or God, Pettyjohn. What was her first name?
Angelique.
Angelique Pettyjohn, who was in the tinfoil bikini in the Gamesters.
Oh
of
yeah, I
Triskelion.
remember. Yeah, the Triskelions thing. Yeah.
She used to, like, first of all, she'd come in costume, which is awesome.
Really?
And she even worked out a whole dance routine with like a spear that, and she would, in the 70s, she would perform like that.
Wow.
Like, hey man,
Okay.
Shauna.
The
Did I
actress that
convert-
played Isis the cat
Yes.
from Gary Seven was there.
Doesn't say a word. She was
That's
there.
awesome.
She was there.
She
That's
sits in the chair.
outstanding.
That's it. You don't.
Yeah.
She doesn't speak at all.
Fantastic. Oh my, yeah, but I'm sure she's got a great 8x10 of her.
Oh yeah,
Sitting
I
there.
got one signed.
I knew it.
Hey,
I
there
knew
you
he
go,
would.
man. God bless you. Absolutely. Come on, man. Again, we love this shit. We
I
love
know.
Charles Napier being the head hippie in The Way to Eden
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah, brother. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm
I
gonna
love
hip hop and jump
Oh,
for joy.
yes.
I just got a
3
clean
minutes.
bill of health from Dr. McCoy. That's what he's singing.
Exactly.
On the
Yes,
guitar.
I remember that line. Langley's right. It's just like Guy Fligman, Sam Rockwell's character from
Yes,
Galaxy Quest.
exactly. Oh, I get those too. Like, do you want to bring in the people from Galaxy Quest? I go, oh, who? Like, the kid that's from Fairfield, the young kid. I can't think of his name.
I don't
Justin
know.
Long. And they go, no,
Oh, he
the other
would've been
people,
great.
the aliens. I go, the aliens.
Oh, the Thermians. Well, but again, like Rainn Wilson was one of the Thermians.
Yes. He's
the-
not coming though. It's not those
exactly.
people. Yeah.
No, I hear you, man.
The
Oh,
guy
that's
always
too bad.
the same guy goes, do you want to bring in Colonel Sanders from Spaceballs?
I am hoping
You
against
would.
hope that
Because-
at some point I'm at the same convention with Rainn Wilson because we went to high school together. He was only there
I know you said
for a year or two, but we were in plays together. And again, I'm not expecting him to remember me, but I'm just going to be like, hey, man, I'm sure you don't remember me, but we did Cyrano together. We did, a couple other plays.
Things
and that's-
happen. They
you know,
remember.
So hopefully, well, you never know. You never
How do you
know.
like? How do you think I felt when I found out? Oh, there she is. That's,
Hold on.
that's the picture. Yeah,
There she is.
a good shot.
Fantastic. Isis, you're goddamn right, Isis. Look at her.
look at
Of course, today, God bless her, cashing her
Yep.
Social Security check, I'm
And-
sure.
that. 70.
Olivia Dabo.
Oh, man, I'm a big.
Oh,
Good Lord. Wow.
that's from
Didn't-
Conan.
Yeah, that
what
is
Star
from
Trek
Conan.
Was she on?
She was in Next Gen.
Yeah, she was a Q. That
She was a
doesn't know
Q.
she's a Q, and Q shows up. Oh, great episode. Great episode. Honestly, no, I'm a big Olivia Dabo fan.
Yeah,
So, that's fun.
yeah. Everyone jumped for joy. Just got a clean bill. That's right, Dr. McCoy.
Hilarious. That's for Langley also quoting.
How do you think I felt when I?
Oh, wait, stand by.
There
Who's
she
that?
is.
Olivia Dabo.
Yep.
Still
Oh
beautiful.
wow.
Still amazing.
Yeah,
Is that still the crazy wig? No, it's a different wig. What's that?
Oh,
wig?
I had 3 or 4 wigs.
he
with
has a
me.
bunch of them. It's like the Mad
Oh,
Hatter.
I know
from
he does. I
Batman.
just I want to know if like you're name checking. Like, yeah, that's my
Oh,
my.
no, I
making
got
it,
no. Yeah, they
like
don't, they
Gary
don't
Mark
have
from mid
names yet.
'70s.
But
Eddie Mecca.
I actually had a request for me to dress as Rick again because they're going, well, where's the blue wig? Everyone loved my blue wig.
There you go.
I agree with Langley. Yes, the Dabo sisters
Yeah.
are still gorgeous. Absolutely.
How do you,
God,
it
you
was
know-
like me. Well, go ahead.
I was gonna say Christy Swanson. At
Yeah.
first, I'm like, she's getting older. It's like, for her age, Christy
He's
Swanson, way to go, man.
54. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was like me when I was talking to Chase Masterson, and it turned out to be Chase Masterson's from my hometown, and we knew the same people. I was like, wait a minute, your
Isn't
name?
that great?
There's nobody in my town named Chase Masterson, and she's like Christine Carafano. I go, well, there's a
Oh.
lot of those in my town, and she's
Christine
like, yeah,
Carafano,
so
fantastic.
that's her real name. And I was like,
No.
oh, you're Mark Carafano's cousin. He's like, yeah, and I knew exactly where she lived. The whole family
That's
was like,
outstanding.
whoa, small
Scott-
world.
Scott Adsit from 30 Rock went
Yep.
to a neighboring high school, and we were talking about like bars and places and stuff from our area.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, that's awesome, man. You're from." I'm like, "Yeah, I feel the same way, man. That's fantastic."
He's
a
always
big-
at New York Comic Con. He's always stalking the Artist Alley, and he's got these beautiful books of sketches. He'll show them all to you because I bumped into him. I go, "Hey, want to see my sketches?" And he starts going through Adam Hughes and all these people. I'm like, "Whoa, nerd, real big nerd."
I was mid conversation with Phil Noto, and he just walks in, and it's like, he's like, "Oh, hey, Scott," and he goes, "Hey, man," he goes, "I'm sure you don't have my commission ready, but blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And they're just, I'm like, "Oh, that's fantastic." And Ben has told me that too. He's like, "Oh, he's at every con." He
Oh,
goes,
yeah.
Yeah,
Patton
they do.
Oswalt years ago used to be here at the New York cons all the time, and he's a little guy, so it was hard for him sometimes to reach over to the long boxes. And I remember, like, you need something. He's like, "Yeah, can you get those books back
"Can you
there?"
boost
So
me?"
I couldn't reach him, so I just like handed him the FF file. So here you go, buddy. It was at the Wizard show at Chelsea Pier.
I think as years have gone on, he'll be at cons, but he wears a mask.
Oh,
wear, like,
I believe it.
Mask, so
Brian Posehn, when he was at my show, he just walked the floor.
Can't miss him.
It was shopping, and people were like, "Isn't that the guy from the Fantastic Four movie?" And
right, he's the priest.
He's the preacher,
right.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Yeah, poor Brian, man. Like I said,
yeah, you said Star Trek.
Do yourself a favor, even if you are a Brian Posehn fan, you're not going to want to watch him.
It was awkward.
Yeah. He shit the bed. God bless him. It happens. It's live performance.
God bless him. He shit the bed. God bless that kid.
Well, what are you gonna? I mean, hey man, live stand up. There's a reason why I don't do live stand up anymore.
That's right.
So
it's really quiet out there.
Langley says that's funny. My one celeb relationship is the actress that played the maid in Get Out. Was an ex-girlfriend from college. Wow, Betty Grable. Very cool. Very cool, Langley. I like it. What else, guys? Was there anything else Trek related that we were?
There was that clip that I showed you, but you already saw it.
The Star Trek Day.
Yeah, they already know. I mean, it looked pretty much done. I go, can they put that on sooner than next? What is it? Next February or something?
Yeah.
It's all timing.
Yeah.
Whatever. Well, yeah, and mentioning that, Wayne, I almost wonder because I'm surprised Discovery isn't coming back sooner. I almost wonder. Certainly, Picard is the hot show that they're all really proud of, and that's going to be in February. They didn't give a date for Strange New Worlds, premiere, but they had that footage, obviously.
Yeah.
They didn't have Discovery footage at Star Trek Day, and I almost wonder if the plan will be that we'll be waiting for season 5 of Discovery later in the year, and that it won't be on until after both Picard and Strange New Worlds season 2, because I think those are the hotter shows. I could be wrong.
How many more Lower Decks
out there? Write something.
Hold on. All right. All right, Mitch. I think there's still about half the season left.
Okay.
Wayne, what did you ask?
Oh, I thought it'd just give them time to write something better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So we go from Lower Decks to Prodigy, and then we go right into Picard, and then we go into Strange New Worlds, you think?
I mean, again, just based on the fact that they gave us an actual scene from next season's Strange New Worlds. And it was fine. I mean, I whatever. It was okay. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It was all about Ortegas getting ready for an away mission, and that's enough. If you haven't seen it, everybody should see it. Or if you give a shit, I don't. But I really will they finally announce that this might be, because it'll be the 5th season, that they're going to wrap up Discovery, and now that they have fresher voices and fresher ideas that seemingly have connected with the audience more so than Discovery? I certainly hope so. I hope they don't do 7 seasons. They, again, seem bereft of ideas. As someone said earlier in the chat, I still don't know all the names of the bridge crew.
No.
And it's just, I don't like that goddamn show. It's annoying.
But you know the names of the Strange New Worlds bridge crew.
Yeah.
They figured it out finally. It took them 5 shows, but it's like, no, we need to know these people. Even again, and I think we talked about it last week when they announced that Carol Kane is going to be the new engineer, but she's not going to be on every episode. And it's like, no, you need the guy. I mean, shit is happening on the ship. We need to see the engineer. He needs to be there, or she needs to be there. And it kind of pisses me off that it's like, why isn't this like a weekly character? And I don't understand that. I still don't understand why we've seen Ferengi, but we've yet to hear any of them speak in Discovery's future. I've got a ton of complaints. And also, by the way, I did kind of hear another, and again, maybe this is a rumor that keeps getting passed around, but the fact that Hemmer wasn't going to be, first of all, he said he only signed, and they said they were going to kill him off. But also maybe the problem with the makeup inhibiting his vision even more. I had read a couple other sources say that was likely one of the reasons why he couldn't continue as Hemmer and everything.
But I did tell him that we loved his character.
Yeah.
And that we're sad that he left.
What did he say?
Yeah, he was really touched. He was just surprised. Again, a lot of these new guys have no idea of what fandom is.
Yeah.
And when you can latch on to them, because we called the people that were cosplaying Nurse Chapel's scalpels. Like they're just people were cosplaying as these guys, and it's hard for them to, I guess, embrace it, especially the actress that's playing Uhura. Like this is like her first big gig.
Yeah.
And it's just like it just blows her mind that
she's beloved.
Yeah, that she's beloved.
In his first gig. Yeah.
Like again, Rebecca Romaine, this is like old hat to her because she's done shit like with the X-Men and everything. So the Librarians.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's just another show. But for these young kids, they're just crazy about it.
They didn't announce her for New York Comic Con. I know Anson Mount's there, but I've met her at least 3 times over New York. Rebecca Romaine. I wonder why she's not going to be there.
Stuart has an interesting comment. They're not giving up on Discovery so quickly. They would be afraid of the backlash of canceling the most progressive show. Stuart, it's season 5. I mean, I hear what you're saying, but then I mean, it will be season 5. Which is not unusual.
That's a good run.
Yeah, that's exactly, especially even for a streamer, when a lot of times it's 3 and out.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, Stuart, but I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. I think it's been around long enough, and I'm sure they're counting the numbers. Again, maybe Wayne is right, and maybe they are like, let's wrap it up. Again, we've done enough. I don't know where they want to go beyond where they've gone, as far as storyline and stuff. And again, I just think we're getting very lazy sci-fi. The prospect, again, that it's 1,000 years in the future, with the exception of the Romulans and the Vulcans and how their relationship, and that whole bullshit thing of Navala or whatever the fuck they call their merged planet now.
Yeah.
Again, what's happening with the Ferengi? What's happening with the Klingons 1,000 years in the future? All these open questions, and we're seeing nothing about them, and it really, again, it frustrates me. So, that's funny. Doesn't matter. Michael's granddaughter is going to be in the captain's seat. And Lang says, I hope they just don't keep renewing it with no end in sight.
No, it's too expensive.
Exactly, Mitch. Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say.
No. It's filmed in Toronto. The exchange rate. You guys are killing it up here.
No.
You got the big fancy wall, the LCD wall here.
They need to get subscriber money. They ain't going to get that with that show.
Well, that's what I mean. You're Mitch, 100%, man. You got to give us something new.
Yeah.
Because again, hey, Discovery, and it's like, all right, it's 6 years, guys.
Yeah.
Since the fucker started.
Yeah.
I mean, it was 2016 or 17. So it's 5 or 6 years since it started.
Look at Yellowstone. Big hit. What did they do? They got a prequel, Sam Elliott. Now they got a new one with Harrison Ford coming out. That's what you do. If you got something that's making money, you keep friggin' going back and redoing it and redoing it.
Or CSI, all the different
CSI or Law and Order, SUV, all that stuff. But this Star Trek, they're like, hey, we got to pay bills here, and this thing it's not getting new viewers.
It's just like when Netflix started doing original shows, and they kept Lilyhammer going because that was their first show. But then they grew other shows, and finally Lilyhammer, all right, that's enough. Yeah. I absolutely agree with everything both of you have just said. I was going to say, it would be interesting. I would like to see the period between Enterprise and the original series, where we're really getting into the early days of the Federation.
With Captain April and stuff.
I would love to see April. I would love to see. I mean, as much as I would rather they go forward, I would love to see Robert April commanding an Enterprise. Absolutely.
No, you know what would be cool if they said, "Why are we doing this exploration mission?" You know what I mean? Because you talk about Starfleet being military, then you could, just like we have now. Because people are like, why the hell do they want to go back to the moon? They're not going to find anything there. But you could have like a show where they started to do an Enterprise a bit. It was more militaristic, but they started saying, well, we need scientific discovery, but you really need to see where they come up with, well, no, this is the 5-year mission, explore strange new worlds. And what was the impetus that suddenly said, well, Earth can't stay here isolated. We need to go out. Maybe like the Earth is dying or something like that. There's got to be a dynamic that says
nothing
to explore. You can't just say we're doing it because they got to do it for money. Just like now, it's like, why would you go to Mars? Oh, well, maybe they have lithium deposits. We can get new batteries there.
That's so funny because Dan Sheehan, I was on his show a couple weeks ago, and his whole thing is, oh no, Starfleet only goes to the planets that have
For
dilithium.
dilithium. Yeah, you said
And that
that.
was cracking me up. And I kind of think they cover it, Mitch, in the pilot for Enterprise,
Yeah.
in terms of they finally have the technology of deep space. And again, it's an extension of NASA of exploration.
Yeah.
It's in human nature to
Yeah.
like.
Well, you know what was always bad
we don't
about
want to be limited to our own space. We want
Yeah.
to be able to expand, to go places.
The part I never liked about Enterprise was apparently from the time Zefram Cochrane created the warp drive to Enterprise, the Vulcans were holding them back so they couldn't go. I was like, what the fuck? That's bullshit. And I was like,
Well-
why would they care what the Vulcans say? They got their own stuff. Make your own thing.
Because
Go.
of
Well,
our
but again,
nature.
they won't. That was only warp 1,
Yeah.
and even by the time of Enterprise, they could only go to warp 5.
Yeah.
And so, and they were doing like Mayweather from Enterprise
Right.
grew up on a warp 1 ship.
Yeah.
Wasn't even earthbound and everything.
Yeah, but
Langley says, go ahead, Wayne.
the Vulcans' concern was because they went through their own period of civil unrest, emotions taking, and what the Vulcans see, they see themselves in Earth, in the Terrans,
Yes,
and that's why they're concerned that
Yes.
if they advance too fast, too quick,
you got
it
it.
could destabilize the galaxy.
Oh, so they wanted to make sure they didn't do the same mistake they made. Okay.
Right,
that
that they were
explains it.
ready.
I was
That
like,
they were
what?
truly ready.
Because
And
think of it,
again,
the
that's
Civil
good.
War that split Vulcan and
And
Romulans.
Romulans.
Yeah. Something happened in the past to split those two, split the culture in
The
half,
factions. Yeah.
so that they actually left. And for them to leave, they would have had to have some type of space
Yeah,
travel
no.
technology.
Sure.
That would be a good story that they should put on TV, because I would watch an episode where they go back in time, but not to the Earth, because they always go back to the Earth. Why don't they do the Guardian of Forever and go back to Vulcan times? That
Sure,
would be
Klingon
interesting.
time, sure. No, it's interesting. Rob Burnett, his problem with Prodigy was that all the kids are aliens. He's like, no,
Yeah.
it's got to be an Earth-based show. I disagree. I mean, I respect that point of view, but I totally disagree. Langley says, I think the best idea would be to do an anthology series and tell stories in different periods, almost like a potential Trek pilot testing ground. I hear what you're saying, Langley. It could also get very expensive if you're doing such different eras. But I continue to say that they should just set in the Picard time period an anthology show, and that's an open door for every great Star Trek actor that still wants to do new stories. And you could have Kira back. You could even have I guess you can't have Terry Farrell because of the way, but you could have Nicole DeBerre and everybody. I mean, it would be great to see former Voyager and Deep Space Nine actors and do a one shot or whatever. I think it'd be
I
great.
always wanted to see the Adventures of Captain Sulu. Remember, they used to plug that all the time. Like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. And then they had that one Voyager episode, and that was it. I'm like, come on, give Sulu.
He did do a couple audio stories that were kind of lame, unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
But
now, I just checked New York Comic Con. It's still just Anson Mount
yeah, I know.
and Melissa Nava. So
Melissa
it's just
Nava?
Ortegas.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Navia. Yeah,
That's cool.
And the guest of honor are Brendan Fraser, Cassandra Peterson, Christopher Lloyd, Michael J. Fox, and Oscar Isaac.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing. Hey, man, way to go, Brendan Fraser, with this new movie.
Yeah, right. The Whale.
And it might be heading towards an Oscar.
Good
God
for
bless
him.
him. Yeah.
Guy had to put up with a lot of shit over the years. So.
Oh, he's great at Cliff Steele.
Yeah.
Fantastic as Cliff Steele. Yes. Absolutely true.
Oh, speaking of Star Trek, real quick, when I was going back through all the YouTube videos doing the Wrath of Khan research, do you remember there was an 800 number you could call in and talk to, like, order your Klingon dictionary or learn to speak Klingon?
No.
It was a real commercial from like 1989 when Next Gen was big and all that, and they had a Klingon woman there. She's like, call us now at 1-800-TALK-KLINGON or something like that. I was like, oh my god.
Did you find a YouTube?
Never saw
of
it
the commercial?
here, but it was a real commercial. You could buy
Did
merchandise.
you find a YouTube of the commercial or not?
Yeah. I'll send you the link because I was watching it.
Love
I was
to
like,
see it.
this is so weird. Yeah.
Oh, Langley says he had that dictionary. That's hilarious.
Yeah, but I didn't know you could order. But I'm thinking there was no Amazon, so how else would you have got it? You had to go to like a bookstore, God forbid.
Yeah, or a mail order.
This was
or...
a mail order. You could
Sure.
you could call up and they would send you the book. I'm like,
that's another point that Rob made in terms of the current writers not really understanding the guts of Star Trek. the amount of technical manuals, novels, essays about Star Trek that are collected in books. There are so many ways to really understand Star Trek. And I'm sorry, but these dumbasses, all they do is everyone. And again, it's a great point that Rob made. Everyone thinks they know Star Trek. Sure, Kirk, Spock, beam me up, Scotty. It's all surface. Yeah. It's not really understanding the core of Starfleet, the military aspect that is positive, and again, these why the relationships were strong, why it was interesting, and I mean, again, and they're playing. I always say they're playing at Star Trek. Yeah. They're not actually doing Star Trek.
You know the book? Did you guys have the book, the Star Trek Correspondence, which was a blue cover that you could spin the thing and line up what episode it was on?
I didn't have the book.
Joe Trimble, is that his name? BJO?
Bijou. No, that's a woman.
Yeah.
Bijou.
It was a woman? I don't know. Yeah. It was like this guide to every episode. It had like a synopsis, and then it has like who was on it, but there was like fan artwork in it. I still have the book somewhere, but man, oh man, because we didn't have the internet. This was like that and the Star Trek blueprints. We used to read the technical manual. Remember the technical manual that was like all the ships and the Constitution, all the classes. I used to pore over those books like it was if you tested me on that rather than history and religion, I would have got an A because I knew all the different classes, all the different Farragut's and this and that and all that. All that stuff means so much. And that's why, like you said, when they dismiss people like us going off about why we don't like Star Trek, you go, this wasn't just a show. This wasn't just like Dallas or Fantasy Island. It was, honestly, it sounds corny, but it was like a way of life. You got to learn all about humanity and this and moral codes, but the technology, the world, the aliens, we were so in depth with it, just like a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing. Without the internet, we were all in silos. We all like had our own world there, and we love that show. That's why when people shit on it now and give you subpar stuff, you get so upset because you're like, you don't understand. I wasted 45 years of my life poring over every Starlog magazine. I mean, every little book I could find about this.
Yeah, and the technical manual, looking at the Dreadnought class. And going, I want to see the Dreadnought class fight.
Yeah, with the 3 engines. I was like, oh my God, that's going to be huge. Yeah.
Yes. Oh man. And you're like, oh man, that would be so great to see in an episode. And again, this is years before the movie came out.
Yeah.
And oh God, Rob made a good point regarding all that. Oh, Memory Alpha predates Wikipedia. That's all you need to know. And Wikipedia and all these things. Yeah, that's how old Memory Alpha is. That's what we're talking about, everybody. And you all know because you're watching and you get it. It truly is frustrating that they don't understand. It's pop culture schlock to them.
Yeah.
And that's why it is so oversimplified. And like, that's Star Trek, that's enough. And it's like, no, it isn't. It was smart TV always. And again, you can look at the original series and you can look at the guy in the rubber lizard suit with the Gorn and isn't that funny? It's like, again, you miss the point. And even the architects that are at the top, like Goldman and what's his face? Chabon.
Michael Chabon.
Yeah, I disagree with their points of view. I don't know.
Well, it's because they relied on like science fiction writers to provide stories, and science fiction writers really, they take their work seriously, that they want to tell a good story and incorporate current world events, current world values into a futuristic idea. And all these guys want to do is write soap operas.
Yeah. I wish Harlan Ellison was alive to deal with cancel culture. I would love to hear his view on this. You don't like what I got to think? Well, fuck you.
Exactly.
And you just go off on people. And if you don't like that, fuck you twice. And imagine.
I have Harlan's.
Here, real fast. I want to show. Wayne just sent me this photo, and that's a fantastic.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Who's the Klingon that's kissing you?
That's Garon.
Yeah, it's Gwyneth
Riley.
Walsh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Wayne was there. Mitch, let's let Wayne answer because he was actually there.
Yeah.
Well, who was it?
It's Gwyneth Walsh. She was one of the sisters, the Klingon sisters.
Oh, Lursa and B'Etor?
Yeah.
So was she the younger one or the older one?
Well, I think she's the older one.
Okay. I can't remember which is which.
Yeah, I
but
can't which because they
that's-
basically look the same.
Okay,
Yeah.
and how about the other? Were the other two just Klingons, or were
No,
they?
Garwan and Martok.
Martok, yeah.
Oh, holy
So-
shit! I didn't
Yeah.
even. And then, no, wait a minute. Are those cosplayers, or are they
No,
really?
that's the act. That's all the
Wow.
actors.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, because I'll be honest, Mitch, I didn't recognize Galron.
Oh God, you can tell by the
Because-
eyes, those buggy eyes, man.
You're right. Oh yeah, those bug
That's
eyes.
when they would
absolutely,
dress
man.
up
That's and
as in
man.
cosplay. Well, they did their own cosplay for the photo ops.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Stuart says I personally got yelled at by Harlan Olsen.
Oh, did you? It was
Oh,
glorious.
As was I, Stuart. So I know that feeling.
Have you guys
Um,
picked up the CD-ROM, Harlan Ellison, City on the Edge of Forever?
No.
I've
No,
listened to
no.
it. Oh my God. It's the different versions of City on the
Yeah,
Edge of
yeah.
Forever.
Sure.
And just listening. The best part is not the city. It's just him going off on all the changes that were made. And then other people commenting too about the changes that were made. I recommend it if you have like Audible. I think you can download it on Audible.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good to know. I have actually.
I'm
I
gonna
got
check.
like 3 credits banked that are
Yeah,
Audible.
yeah, yeah.
Hey,
I'll
I know
check
they
it
came out. They came out with the comic adaptation of that years ago.
Yes.
I bought
Yeah,
that.
J.K.
Yeah.
Woodward did it.
yes,
yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
Ed has a great idea. How about a Star Trek take on the Americans, but it's the Romulans living in Starfleet life as deep cover
Oh,
spies.
that
That
would
would be
be
great.
cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
you mean like Picard's help?
Yeah.
Commodore.
Yeah.
Commodore, or even Commodore O from Picard season 1.
Yeah.
And so I look forward to however they're going to write off Irish Hazel from Picard. What the shite? Because again, the way season 2, this is what I love, man. It's like, okay, season 2, oh, maybe they are going to be together. Nope, season 3,
Nope,
yeah,
not gonna
get the
happen.
fuck outta here. But wait, you just rearranged my control panel. Why are you leaving? I don't know, man. I don't know. All right, positive things, because someone mentioned it earlier.
Positive.
Hang on. Doubt said, I'm probably going to feel like Mitch if the new Quantum Leap shits the bed. I got to tell you, I like the trailer. I'm kind of pissed if it's true that Sam Beckett's really not going to be part of it. And he was on Instagram saying, no, I'm not part of it. That could also be a fake out.
Yeah, I mean, Liam Neeson said he wasn't going to be on Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he shows up at the end. They don't want to ruin everything for you.
Right.
It's like,
And that's good, because I don't want them to ruin it. It
Right.
looks, I think it looks good. I really think it looks good, the new Quantum Leap. I'm very excited to watch the pilot tomorrow night.
that starts this week, right?
Monday, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Oh,
Yeah. On NBC, on actual over-the-air terrestrial broadcasting.
they actually
It's
have real programming on TV
the
now.
And no disrespect to my buddy Pat Schumacher, who is the showrunner on Abbott Elementary, and they won an Emmy last week. But and it is a quality show. I just don't watch it. I've seen a couple episodes, but yeah, the new Quantum Leap is literally like the first major network TV show that I'm like, oh, I really want to see that in years.
I saw they got the real life Love Boat comes this Friday, and I think it's like one of those bachelorette
Really?
shows on a Love Boat, and I'm like, are you shitting me? Come
Easy to
on, man.
produce.
Not good. God, did you watch the Emmys at all, guys? Because we were broadcasting obviously during it.
How was it?
I DVR. Oh, it's horrible. But I DVR'd
It was horrible.
It was. It just. I mean, I love Kenan Thompson. The stuff they gave him to do really wasn't that funny.
Oh,
And at
was it
one
all
point,
milk?
At the
Vanilla?
opening, they did a tribute to all the classic TV themes, and they did these really. It's just like on the Academy Awards when Rob Lowe was serenading Snow White. They do these ridiculous interpretive dance routines to classic TV themes, and they did one of the Friends theme. But the best was they did one for the Brady Bunch, and of course in the center square instead of Alice, it's Kenan Thompson. But they're like, ladies and gentlemen, the cast of the Brady Bunch, and they cut to this shot of them at a table, and it's like, yeah, how you doing? Hey, how's it going? It's like, and everybody was there that's alive except Marsha.
You know, I'm sad I missed it in memoriam. How was that? The death reel.
I didn't watch it yet. I've got it on DVR.
Honestly, it's a sick. What do you call it? Pleasure. I always love the death reels at the Oscars, and because you go, oh, and then they remember they used to let you hear the audio, and they cut that out years ago because the audience would clap like if it was a really good actor. It's like, hairdresser, who? And then it would just go. It was like a popularity contest.
They always fuck up. Like I remember when Jack Klugman died.
Yeah,
they totally blew him off, and it's like, Jack London had two very significant television shows, did a shit ton of great anthology and guest shots in TV. How dare you leave him off? And I guess this year they left Norm Macdonald off. And I have a feeling because it was on NBC and it's their burr up their ass about Norm Macdonald and how things broke down with him and Don Ohlmeyer and all the bullshit with him picking on OJ. That's my assumption.
He was on Saturday Night Live for years, for fuck's sakes. Give him a Jesus Christ.
A major comedy star. And and plus he had his own, not only he had the Norm show that was on ABC, he had those shows on Comedy Central. No, that's a glaring omission. Yeah, I didn't like that. I liked She-Hulk this week. I thought it was fun.
Yeah, She-Hulk's a fun show. Yeah,
it absolutely is, and I hope that we're going to get more than just the helmet of Daredevil that we got in.
Well, it's only got one episode left, so they're going to hurry it up.
Oh, really? Is it really?
That's it. 6 episodes. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Because Andor starts this week. The next Star Wars. Disney does it right. It's like, one ends. Oh, don't leave. We got a new one coming on.
Well, Star Trek did the same thing on Paramount. They did the same thing. They wrapped up Picard season 2 and Strange New Worlds debuted.
I heard Netflix might be going to that too because they were like, "Why are we dumping everything at one time? We need to keep these people here." Cobra Kai, we could have dragged this out for 10 episodes for fuck's sakes,
Again, I appreciated the novelty of binge watching, but I do think that again I'm telling you, and I'm not going to mention his name because I really like the guy, but my one buddy that I was talking to about having different stories for each episode. Well, that's all TV, and it's like, no, that's TV. And again, the same thing with binge watching versus building anticipation. It's like, no, you're not realizing you're blowing it because after the first week or two, who's talking about Squid Game? I mean, who's talking about whatever your favorite Netflix show is?
Nothing.
I mean, it's true. So Andor, I'm very excited that they're starting with 3 episodes right away. And nice. Gigantic Jeff was telling me this weekend, we were hanging out, that it's like more than 10 episodes. It's like 15 or more episodes, which is kind of cool. I'm excited. Like it a lot. That says I miss TV like Amazing Stories.
I like Amazing Stories. They brought that back at one point on Apple TV.
On Hulu. Okay. Or no, maybe you're right. It was Apple TV.
It was when it first started. I was like, oh yeah, I'll watch this.
You're right.
That new Twilight Zone. Remember the new Twilight Zone? Never liked it.
Oh,
I would watch it in black and white because they gave you a choice. You could watch the color or the black and white, and that
I didn't know that.
Yeah, really? yeah. You could pick which one you wanted to watch. Yeah.
I gotta say that I think the early years of the '80s Twilight Zone had a couple decent stories.
No, I'm talking about the one they brought back on Apple TV.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, the one they brought back in the '80s was okay. It was all right.
Yeah, and my good friend, the late Marty Pasco, was a story editor on that show back in the day. And Noah Straczynski worked on the show as well. So yeah.
They had a great episode where Bruce Willis called his own number and he answered. Remember that one? That was a good one.
I don't remember
Willis
that
was
one.
On and he accidentally dialed his home number and he picked up and it was like
now that you say yes.
When he would leave, another Bruce Willis, a doppelganger. It was it was pretty good.
I do remember that one. That was a good one. No, you're right. Hell, Mark Singer had a really good one. Martin Balsam had one where he's an astronaut in space and he's an old man and he's got the space helmet on. It's like, are you kidding me? It was I liked. There was a great Elvis episode where like a future it was actually an Elvis imitator.
Yeah,
pretended to be Jesse, Elvis's twin brother that died, and was talking to him. And the real Elvis dies, and this guy becomes Elvis and stuff. And, that was an interesting twist.
Did they put those on CBS? I mean, where are those now?
No, I don't know why. Yeah, there's a lot of things on Paramount that aren't there or should be on that were Paramount made.
Right.
I don't know. I'm assuming that was that was CBS. It might have been prior to
it was CBS. Yeah.
But I have no idea. They had that one season of Twilight Zone post CBS in the 80s that was syndicated.
Yeah.
And I don't know who made that. But yeah, I don't know. But I mean, and I have a feeling with this example I'm about to give, it might be a music rights issue. But they only have one season of Happy Days on Paramount Plus, and it's the second season, so it's before Fonzie was living above them in the garage apartment and everything. And it's a decent. It's still when it was single cam. It's before it went to cam. There's good episodes in there, But it really bums me out that, I mean, and don't get me wrong, half of Happy Days was shit. But before Fonzie jumped the shark, there were a lot of good episodes.
Oh no, Happy Days was great when it first started. Yeah,
sure. So yeah, poor Langley says, yeah, you finally watched Paper Girls. It was great. Sadly, it's canceled.
It's canceled now. Yeah.
Hey man, same thing with Deadly Class. Yeah, I mean, again, it's
or that Mark Millar one that was really Jupiter Ascending or
Jupiter's Legacy. Yep,
Jupiter's Legacy. Yeah,
I liked it better than the critics did. I got to say, I really did.
Yeah.
And again, maybe because I'm sympathetic to Mark, but I do think
I thought it was great.
It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Langley says She-Hulk is 9 episodes.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm off then. Sorry. 6, 8, 10. There's only so much.
Andor is 12.
Ooh.
There you go. Oh, 12 episodes. Wow.
And the new Daredevil is going to be 18, which is like a whole season of regular TV. It's like, whoa.
You know, to tell Born Again, I think you need it to be that long.
Yeah.
I really do, because you need the downfall and you need the ascent. I'm excited for that. I really am, and I'm so glad that Charlie. I hope Foggy and Karen come back too, because they were great on the show. The whole cast was great.
We'll see if they do the real Karen Page, because remember, she fell down to disrespect. She was in a bad shape.
She was doing pornography and selling his information for drug money.
She sold the information to get drugs, and that
was Kevin Smith's story.
The information. Yeah. Yep. No, it's a great story. Oh my God. In that original Mazzucchelli Frank Miller story, when they're in the alley and she, she's ready to kill, she's ready to sacrifice herself.
Yeah.
And Matt saves her and she's crying in his arms. Oh my God. I mean, that's truly, when a comic book has moments like that, or I always give it up to Johns, and shame on me, I don't remember who drew that first issue of Rebirth, but when Wally and Barry hug, and it's like, Wally, how could I forget you? It's like, oh man. And the same thing with Nick Dragata and
Gary Frank.
Gary Frank.
Oh, of course it was Gary Frank. Shame on me. I love Gary Frank. What a great artist. Also, Hickman's Fantastic Four run, where I always say where Johnny's dead and the Thing, just beats the hell out of the Hulk and Thor and Hercules, and then ends up crying in the Hulk's chest. It's like, oh man. All right, we're full circle.
I was going to say, next thing you know, I'll be talking about Clerks 3. I saw that the other day too.
How was it?
It's
Clerks 2?
3.
No, Clerks 2 is funnier. Clerks 3 is it's all about his heart attack, and it's not giving out much because he's about. So it's really, it's funny, but it's so serious. Like, you're sitting in the audience, I go, oh my God, I think I'm having a heart attack too. I gotta go lose weight. It's not an upbeat beginning when you see one of the main guys have a heart attack, and then the whole show is about him reflecting about his life, and it's like, yeah, it's serious. There's funny moments, but overall, it's a very, very serious topic. So you can't get a lot of jokes out of that thing. So
yeah, it didn't look like that.
It was
watchable.
It was much better than the reboot thing. So
okay. Wesley was asking if they're just using the name Born Again or telling the story. I'm assuming they're telling. I hope they're going to tell the story.
Yeah.
It sounded like the way they announced it. It was like telling the story of Born Again.
Yeah,
I think so. I do think so. And then Doubt asked me, "Am I going to get Jeff Johns on to talk about JSA and Golden Age City?" You're goddamn right, I am. Nothing firm as far as a date. But I'm really glad I saw Jeff at the beginning of August, and he's eager to come back. And again, it's always a question of Jeff's schedule. But thank God, Jeff is one of those guys, like Alex Ross, that he's not on all the time, but when they got time, they definitely come back and talk. So
what's good? Stargirl. Stargirl is good.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is. And I'm sorry.
7 Soldiers of Victory or something are on there, right? Ordway's been talking to me about that. He's like, you didn't watch it? I'm like, no, you gotta watch it.
Which is great, because they've been dangling that the Shining Knight was the janitor since season 1. So, that's interesting. Langley wants a Daredevil rebirth. To be honest, he needs a better version of the Hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That thing they were building in the basement with the coffin never made sense. So.
I'm hearing mixed things about the Fletch movie with John Hamm.
Is that out now?
Yeah, came out this weekend.
Oh, I thought it was a Showtime thing too. It's like on demand. No, it's only in theaters.
You can purchase it on demand, and depending on your movie ticket price in your city, it's not that much more expensive than in Chicago going to the theater and seeing the movie. So I'm thinking about buying it. Palmiotti saw it and he said it was decent, but not amazing. I don't know.
Man, I'll go watch that. I love Fletch. I had all those Jeffrey McDonald books back in the day.
Me too. Yeah. And I think the 2 Chevy movies are great.
Yeah,
I think even the second one is good,
Yeah.
So no, I love the character. And I was really hoping they were talking about for a while. Oh God, now I'm blank. Jason Kevin Smith's guy. Jason Lee.
My Name is Earl guy. Jason, the Kevin Smith guy.
Jason Lee? What's
Jason Lee? Yeah. He was going to do Fletch. Kevin Smith was going to do Fletch 1, which was one of the books. It was like the early Fletch.
Right.
Never got off the ground. Yeah.
Yep. And it's a shame because I think Jason Lee would have been a great Fletch.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, no, I can see Ham being Fletch and everything. I hope it's good enough. So, but I don't know. I might wait for streaming. I don't know.
No, I might go see it now with John Hamm. I might go watch it tomorrow.
Yeah. And I wonder because I have to say it took me forever to get through Mark Wahlberg's Spencer movie.
Yeah.
Because it was so different than the Parker books. And were you a Parker reader, Mitch?
Yeah, I read them all. I got them all over here. Yeah, every single one of them.
So good. Even did you get the ones with Ace Adkins writing?
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what's so funny? I was at a book sale today, and it was at the library, and they had all the Robert Parker books, and then Ace did it, and then wasn't there another guy that took?
There was another guy. I can't remember his name. Yeah.
I haven't.
And it's funny because Kurt Busiek and Walt Simonson are big
Spencer
Parker fans. Yeah. And I asked Walter, I'm like, I go, am I gonna like him with the other guy? He goes, honestly, yeah, they're good. I'm like, all right.
Okay.
And again, shame on me for thinking otherwise because it's like, well, I've been enjoying comic books that don't keep going with the original writers and artists. It's like, true. Why, again, in the right hands, it should work. Or all the million Star Trek novels and stuff.
No.
But
Parker was great, though. I mean, he had such a rhythm. I would fly through those books, and as soon as I'm like, oh, when's the next one? And I met him. He came to Yale a couple times.
Wow.
I remember going out there. Oh, yeah, I got a picture with my son, Spencer. And I said, oh, this is Spencer. He goes, like, with an S or a C? I go, I wanted the S, but the wife made me do the C. He's like, oh, but he was a funny guy.
That's
such
cool.
a shame. Died at his typewriter. Just boom, died right there.
Oh, he had his typewriter. Oh, he died at his typewriter. Yes.
Yeah, he was typing away, and they found him slumped over the. Way to go, buddy. So.
Hey, man, I discovered the Spencer novels my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
A good buddy of mine's like, you got to read these.
Yep. I flew through all the Godwin's manuscript. Yeah.
Oh, my God. Everything. Absolutely, man. Looking for Rachel Wallace.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like the John
Catskill
Gardner,
Eagle was a great one. Remember that one?
Of course.
The Catskill Eagle, Hawks in that one. And
yes.
Yeah.
Henry Somoli. Go on.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that I like the John Gardner James Bond book.
James Bond. I read all those. Icebreaker and all that. That was 80s was we read all those things in the 80s. I remember that. Like Ian Fleming's Den, John Gardner, and you'd read all the James Bond books by Gardner.
And there was a Raymond, I can't remember his last name, but he was also a good Bond writer from Chicago, too.
Yes. I can't think of the name, but yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of his name either. He's still alive, but he doesn't do the books anymore. No, you're right, man. Again, this was in early cable years, and novels based on licensed characters were great.
Yeah.
Will Murray wrote a couple Marvel novels in the 80s.
I got it over there, the Shield book. Nick Fury. It's right over on my bookcase.
Yep. Absolutely. And also, Kupperberg did great novelization, not novelizations, original novels.
Yeah.
A lot of God. I had Priest on last month, and shame on me, I totally forgot. Next time I talk to him, I got to bring up his Green Lantern novel that he wrote.
Oh, I don't remember that one. I do remember Max Allan Collins doing a bunch of Elliot Ness books, The Dark City, which was about Elliot Ness going to Cleveland and cleaning up that. I read all those books and stuff. See, before we had streaming, I would read book series. I read all the Mac Bolan Executioners. I read anything because you'd be like, ooh, then there was a bunch of adventure books called The Takers. And I would read all those books too. And and F. Paul Wilson, who did a bunch of books called The Tomb, The Keep. The movies sucked, but the books were always very well done. So,
no, I hear you. And I agree with Doubt. The Robert Urich Spencer for Hire show was great. Even the Lifetime TV movies he made after the series were still great. No, it was a slightly different Spencer from the novels, but even Parker appreciated it, and maybe because of the paychecks. But it seemed like Parker really liked the idea of it. Stacy Keach to me should have been Spencer on TV.
Did you like Joe Mantegna's Spencer? I never liked him.
I appreciated it,
Yeah.
but it is a cut underneath Robert Urich.
It was too.
And it was a great. It's one of the best books.
Yeah.
It is one
No,
of the best
but
books.
being an Italian, he was too Italian to be Spencer. I was like, "What's this?" He's like,
I agree.
"Hey, what are you gonna do?" I'm like, "No, Joe Mantegna, what are you doing?"
But I do love Mantegna and everything he does.
He would do
And
the
we-
audio books though, because I would get the audio
Yes,
Spencer
yes,
for
he
higher
did.
books, and he
Yes,
would
he
do
did.
those. So,
Absolutely.
I
That's
don't
fun.
know.
So what was the audible? The Harlan Ellison.
Harlan
con-
Ellison.
thing.
Sitting
Yeah,
on the
that's
Edge
I
of
gotta go
Forever.
track
I
that
think it
down.
might be there.
Yeah.
It's really good. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I gotta find it. That's great to know, man.
I used it on long drives.
Exactly, and I just miss hearing Harlan.
Oh God, yeah.
I will rewatch those documentaries they made. Of course, we were on because we were such good friends. Prophets of Science Fiction, and he's on. It's so great. I'm sure I told this story before. The episode about Isaac Asimov ends with, I believe it's David Brim who wrote The Postman. He says something about Isaac. Harlan says something about Isaac. I say something about Isaac, and then Ridley Scott ends the show. And my friend's like, "Who in that group does not belong there at all?" And I'm like, "How you doing, everybody?" Absolutely, but it's so great. But that's funny. I agree with Dowd. Stacy Keach was hilarious as Christopher Titus's dad. Absolutely. Hey man, Keach was great on that. There was an FX series. It was only one season about boxing. It was called Lights Out, and he played the dad trainer of the heavyweight champion. And oh man, he was so great. And of course the wonderful
Mike Hammer. That's what I was thinking. Those were kind of goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. It kind of leaned into the pulpiness of Spillane. Yeah. But I still like the show. And no, I thought he was great as Mike Hammer. He was amazing.
Yeah, but did you ever see the ones they brought back after he got out of jail? They did Spencer. They did Mike Hammer, The New Adventures of Mike Hammer.
Oh, how were they?
Oh, they're really bad. You can find those on like free TV or Freebie. You'll see them, and because he shows up, he's almost in a costume. He's got the whole hat thing, but he's running around modern day. So it's like, what the hell's this all about? He looks like a cosplayer or something.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
They're really lame, So
no, I hear you. It's funny.
No budget either. So
MeTV and not Antenna TV, another one of those rerun channels, are running the '90s Perry Mason movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's a whole other world out there on TVs. Depending on which TV you have, like I told Wayne, I have Samsung upstairs, so I have all the Samsung with Doctor Who's and stuff. Then downstairs, we have an old TV, and the other day I just turned it on. And it said Freebie. I'm like, what's that? And it's free TV, but it's like bizarre shows that you remember, but you never like One Step Beyond. Remember that was in the late 80s? It was like a syndicated horror anthology. I'm like, what? Where have these shows been? What are they in a vault somewhere? And they're like, does anybody want to watch this stuff? And they're like, sure, put Rat Patrol on with Vic Morrow. Nobody cares. Put it on.
I love Rat Patrol.
I sent you guys the image of. I picked up Sequest DSV, the 3 seasons of Sequest on Blu-ray.
Oh, jeez.
So were the Michael Ironside episodes better than the Roy Scheider episodes?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
From what I remember, I haven't watched it yet, but I remember the Michael Ironsides were better.
Okay.
That's IMDb TV. Oh, okay. Because I never heard of it before. I was like, what the hell's this? Now that makes sense. That's IMDb TV.
Oh yeah. No, it's great. No, and they even have like not only weird, obscure shows. Hold on, stand by.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I was like. What is
Freebie? That's different than
Freebie. Yeah.
Because also Tubi.
Yeah, Tubi's amazing.
Oh, I love Tubi.
We're going to talk about Henry Silva on Word Balloon Tuesday night, me and Gabe Hardman and Ian Brill. And I've been watching a ton of Henry Silva crappy 90s movies on Tubi. But also, everybody, honestly, here's a complete left field, but, again, nerd related. In the 70s, those Italian crime movies that were coming out of Italy, they are ultra violent. They are dubbed in the worst way that like even the lame spaghetti westerns were, but they're amazing because all these American and British stars would go there and make these movies. And Henry Silva made a ton of them. John Saxon made a ton of them.
Yep.
The guy keeping it Star Trek related, I can't remember his name, but the guy who played Apollo in the original series episode,
made
a ton of them. and he dubbed. He was also a voice dubber for the Italian actors and would do like American, English and everything for the dubs. Unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it's the
It's
Italian
great.
Giallo movies. I have
What's
a
that?
bunch of them here. They're called Giallo. It's their horror versions. I have a whole
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
here. Oh,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah. That's
amazing.
the horror, but I'm
Yeah,
talking
but
about the crime movies.
But that's
Yeah, I
also
hear you.
part of the crime movies because it's sort of an overall encompassing
Okay.
umbrella. It does include
Okay.
also the crime movies
Because
they,
there's a great documentary on Tubi about them called Eurocrime. Franco Nero is also in it.
Franco
it's
Nero. Yeah.
outstanding. It is such an interesting.
He's still around.
Oh yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
he's get Franco Nero for Terrific Cut. Come on, he was
No, he
Lancelot.
showed up. You know why? My wife was watching a Hallmark movie, and I go, "Oh my God, that's Franco Nero," and he was on a Hallmark movie. She goes, "Who?" I go, "Trust me."
When he was in the second Die Hard movie, I was so excited.
Oh my God, his best one is Force 10 from Navarone. They're on the train with Robert Shaw, and he looks at him like, "Oh, he was played Nikolai Lescavar," because I remember that name. He goes, "So you think I'm a spy?" And Robert Shaw goes, "I don't think. I know." And it's like, and boom, and he shoots him right there. It's like, yes.
Force 10, that's the Harrison Ford
Harrison
one, right?
Ford, Carl
Yeah.
Weathers,
Yeah.
Barbara
No, that's a fun
Bach,
movie.
Richard Keel. What a cat! Edward Fox.
Richard
That was
Kiel.
a cast, man.
Outstanding. It's funny. There were all those early 80s and late 70s action movies where literally they'd have like David Niven when he was like, almost 70 or whatever. And they're, or like, there's one with Roger Moore, a ton of British guys.
Fox?
Well, there was Folks. Absolutely.
Folks.
I remember
it.
Folks, but no, there was another one that they made around that era. And it's all these like it was supposedly based on a true World War II story, where all these guys that were in Spain were expat British guys, and they were all middle-aged men, and they go on this like one mission to screw up the Germans, and it's fantastic.
With Roger Moore.
Yes, Roger Moore.
I saw that. Okay. There was
Gregory
a horrible movie.
Gregory Peck is in it as well.
There was a terrible movie with Elliot Gould once, and they tried to repackage it when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out, and they changed the title to The Golden Raiders. But it was like all these like Love Boat caliber actors. I think David Niven, Elliot Gould. It was really bad, but they were like, "Yeah, we'll do some special effects. It'll be
Wild
fun."
Geese?
Huh? I am thinking
about
the
Wild Geese. That was a good one. Yeah, I remember
yes.
that. That was Richard Burton, though, wasn't it? The Wild Geese. I think so.
Was Richard Burton Wild Geese as well?
I think so.
There's another
you
one.
know what? We're really off the reservation. Jaws was just playing last week in 3D in the IMAX theater down the road. I'm like, oh my God, Jaws is playing at the theater. My kid's like, you've seen it a million times. I go, but it's in 3D now. So
yeah, it has Burton and Harris.
Yes, that's right. I'm also thinking of the Seawolves. That was the specific one that I was thinking of that had Peck in it, and it's Gregory Peck, Roger Moore, and David Niven, and a bunch of other British character actors that you would recognize. Right, Patrick Macnee and Trevor Howard are also in the movie, and it's fun. It's just shit tons of fun.
Do you think Roger Moore was? Do you think Roger Moore was past his prime when he started playing Bond? Like
no,
he was,
not when he
was already over his head.
No, not when he started. Not at all. Not at all.
So where do you think he goes off track after The Spy Who Loved Me? Then he started getting a little long in the tooth.
Well, and it's funny because I read his autobiography, and from Your Eyes Only till the end, he's like, "Guys, don't you think I'm too old?" And they're like, "No, we want." And they kept throwing more money at him, and he's like, "All right." So I think for Your Eyes Only, and again, he's a little creaky in that, but I love that it went back to basics after Moonraker, and Albert Broccoli is like, okay,
Moonraker.
It's he's becoming ridiculous with all the sci-fi and everything. We got to bring it back to basics. I love For Your Eyes Only, and I also love that the skater is literally throwing herself at Bond, and at some scenes literally flinging herself at him, and he's like, "Jesus,
isn't that Olivia Diabo?"
Like,
no,
it wasn't Olivia Diabo.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, yeah.
No, she's in the Timothy Dalton one,
and it's not Olivia; it's her sister.
Oh, her sister. Okay,
it's not. Yeah, but not in that one. Not in that one.
I'm thinking For Your Eyes Only. I'm thinking of maybe.
Yeah, it's a younger real skater. And Topol is in the movie, and
Julian Glover. He was the bad guy.
Glover, exactly. That's who I was trying to think
Lynn
of.
Holly Johnson, you're thinking of.
That's it. There you go.
Yep. And she's funny as hell. And I do love that. Literally, she's throwing herself at Bond.
Yeah, and he's
like
oh.
rolling his eyes, like, "All
Yeah.
right, easy, man.
Yeah.
You're like, I can be
Yeah.
your father. Calm down."
That's the one that opens up great with Blofeld when he dumps him into the chimney.
Yeah, in the
right at
wheelchair.
beginning.
Yeah, into the
Keep your
smokestack.
hair on. Yeah.
Well, it gets silly, obviously. Mr. Bond, I'll buy you a delicatessen. It's like, all right, you blew it. Because I love the beginning, even before you get Blofeld.
It was at Teresa's grave. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, this is the same guy.
Yeah.
It's one guy. It is one story. And I love that they did that. And it's, to me, one of the most significant Bond moments of the franchise, where it's like, no. It's
they tied it all together. Like, yes. And then they went goofy.
Well, and again, all the unfortunately, Blofeld was part of that whole Kevin McClory.
Yeah, they couldn't use him. Yeah.
Thing, and that's why they went away from Spectre and all that stuff. And It's a shame because I whatever it is. I mean, again, we can do a whole podcast on Never Say Never Again and Thunderball and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And even the one they didn't make that was called Warhead, where Connery was going to play Blofeld in that one. So I don't know.
Oh, I never heard that one. Really, Connery was going to play Blofeld?
That was the plan because Connery really liked McClory because he was sticking it to Albert Broccoli and also
okay.
But they did at the very least. I have seen photographs of maybe prospective movie posters of Connery as Blofeld.
Wow, that would have been a kick in the teeth, huh?
Would have been interesting. Mr. Bond, hello.
Yeah, Mitch, you're thinking of Miriam Dalbo was in The Living Daylights.
Right. Yes, that's right. They go down in the cello case. They go down the side of the mountain with Timothy Dalton. Yep. Yeah.
That was the sanitized first Timothy Dalton movie.
Yeah.
You can't hop from bed to bed. Only one woman.
No. License renewed though. Had one of my future wives, Carrie Knoll, or Carrie. What was Carrie? What was her name?
I can't remember her name, but it is Carrie.
Beautiful girl. She married Richard Gere. What does she know? Short hair. Carrie Lowell. Carrie Lowell. That was her name.
That's right, Carrie Lowell. Man, all those on the DVDs.
Yeah.
All those behind the scenes documentaries that Patrick McNee narrates are unfucking believable. As good as the movies. Sometimes better than the movies.
I didn't know that they're on the DVDs.
They were on the Laserdiscs back in the day.
Oh, see, I just watch them when they're on, Amazon. I don't
on
know
the extras. Check out if you have the copy of it. Check out your extras. They're
and also they for a time, and I don't know if they yanked them down or not. A lot of them are on YouTube.
YouTube has a lot of that stuff, and
they're great. No, they're interesting as hell. And no, that's really where I learned about Terrence Young as a director and the editor Peter Hunt, who did On Her Majesty's Secret Service. He directed that.
Yep.
And it's like, again, you learn about these behind the scenes guys that were so instrumental in these movies.
Lazenby is a guy that I could get at the show because he's on the con circuit.
Oh, please get George.
Really? Oh no, I met him twice.
Oh my
he's
God.
a great guy. You could talk to big, even though he's like 70 something now. He's big, tall. And hello, he's got a little cleft in the chin there.
His documentary. Oh, there you go. Way to go, man.
Yeah. No, I've seen his documentary. Yeah.
Oh, that's Warhead. There you go. That's the
Oh,
that's exactly. There you go. Exactly. Wayne's got it. Wayne's got
crazy.
the image. Yeah.
No, but George Lazenby's great because he was Jor-El on the Superboy TV show.
Yes, he was. Oh no, I love and actually it's a good TV movie, The Return of the Man from Uncle.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say JB. Yeah.
Yes, he shows up in the Aston Martin and this lovely little cameo where he kind of helps Robert Vaughn.
Napoleon Solo. Yeah, he's driving the car. He goes, oh, look, it's Napoleon Solo. And then he does the thing and they're like, thanks, JB.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's awesome. Oh, no, it's adorable. Absolutely. Hey, man, again, I think as I'm sure a lot of Bound fans feel the same way, On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh, it's one of the best
films. And listen, of course, Lazenby was not the actor that Roger Moore or Connery or the others were. That said, he did fine. He had an adequate performance, and it's such a great movie. It's such a great story.
Well, it's not his fault totally why he didn't come back. It was like behind the scenes drama. I mean, I thought his wife was giving him thing. He wanted more money. That was one story. But then the Broccoli's had Sean Connery coming back, and they wanted to dump him. I mean, it wasn't.
Well,
they didn't take care of it that well.
I hear conflicting things about wanting Connery back or not. I had heard that they did want him to continue, but he wanted to leave because he felt Bond was old hat, and he wanted to do 70s movies. Was seeing people like Bruce Lee, and was like, I want to make movies like that, But Artie Langley agrees it's a great Bond film. Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, one more last thing. We'll go back to Star Trek. If you go to YouTube, you could see the deleted scenes from Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan that only aired on TV. And there's scenes where they tell you that Savik's half Romulan. They show David and David Kirk or David Marcus and her giving each other the eye just before Kirk comes on the bridge towards the end when he's looking at the Genesis planet. There's not a lot, but there's little snippets.
Oh yeah,
little
Scotty's nephew.
Scotty's
we
nephew.
actually know
Scotty's
that
nephew's on there too. No, but there's a lot that are like this that was on TV and never again because you could tell the transfer is like shitty quality.
Well,
like
Wayne said about the motion picture.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Just go type in Wrath of Khan deleted scenes TV, and there's like about 20 of them. So little stuff, not a lot, but like
it's a shame because so many of those scenes you wish they would have put them in. I mean, I could even say that about Nemesis. Again, Stuart Moore should be as vilified for Star Trek fans as Fred Freiberg is for season 3 of the original series, or his work on Space 1999. How he turned that show into shit. Stuart Moore was, or not Stuart Moore. Stuart Moore is our buddy.
Stuart Moore's like, I was in the comic book guy.
Not Stuart. I'm so sorry, Stuart.
Sorry,
Stuart Baird. Stuart Baird is he's the anti Peter Hunt, another great editor that saved a lot of movies in editing.
Right.
They gave him this movie, and he knew nothing about Star Trek, and it
was
showed.
bad.
And if you look at the deleted scenes, it's like all those scenes should have been in there. Everyone, and you got. I mean, poor Will Wheaton was really just like an extra in the final cut of Nemesis, and he had a scene, he had a dialogue scene and everything. They explained the Romulans a lot more in detail and what they're and the Remans. The last scene, as opposed to the bullshit scene with B4 and Picard, they have a great scene with the new first officer, who's Stephen Culp, who was one of the Mako officers in Enterprise, but he's going to be the new first officer. And Riker plays a practical joke on him, and he's like, "Oh, Picard really doesn't go for formalities. You can call him by his first name and stuff." And he does, and it's such a great scene, and it's just Patrick Stewart just tearing him down just with a look, and the guy being like, "Jean-Luc, sir, Captain, sir, I'm so sorry." It's like, that's all right, number one. And it's so much better and a much more optimistic ending, rather than another refrain of stupid blue skies. And by the way, Data's dead. If we didn't make that clear, Data is dead. And then, of course, he comes back in season 1 of fucking Picard. The most useless comeback. I'm sorry. Ugh. Hey,
you think we're going to see him in Picard season 3 at all?
He's in the cast.
Yeah, I know, but how?
I have no idea how they're going to do it. My assumption is it's going to be Brent Spiner playing a different role, or maybe they'll have a flashback and they'll CGI him and smooth him out, so it could be like an old, piece of footage of Data.
You know what my theory is? It's an alternate timeline Enterprise coming to get Picard to help them. That's what I'm thinking. Because they showed Beverly Crusher. She's like, Captain Picard, we need you to help us or something. I'm like, wait a minute. Maybe it's not our Enterprise people. Maybe it's like a parallel universe type of thing. And their Picard died and they needed Picard to come in and save everybody. I don't know. But it better be good. I'll tell you this.
Yeah, he ripped up Stuart Baird.
Nemesis. I don't own that one. I own all the Star Trek movies, but I don't own Nemesis. I was like, I'm not buying this shit. When I was in that movie theater and they were in that car, that 4 off-road thing, I looked at my buddy. I go, what in the fuck is this? It was like, look, there's Data's head. There's a piece of his arm. I go, what? They're just laying there like this, and you don't think this is a trap?
They were buried in the sand.
So stupid.
But that was the first time the producers indulged Patrick Stewart. What do you want to do? Well, I really like 4x4.
I want to drive a car. Yeah.
And then it only got worse with the first 2 seasons of Picard. Man, again, everybody, you owe it to yourself to watch. If you like this kind of vitriol about Star Trek, you really owe it to yourself to watch Rob Burnett's Robservation shows when he really picks on Star Trek. And he's so right. It's like, look, we all love Patrick Stewart. He's a wonderful actor. But again, even Patrick Stewart doesn't understand the guts of Star Trek.
Yeah.
And he said, because, Rob did the bonus features for the Blu-rays of Next Gen and had these long interviews with Patrick Stewart. And he's like, I'm not going to talk to you about Star Trek. And Patrick Stewart's like, what do you mean? He goes, well, you can't tell me the political implications of the Remans and the Romulans, or why the Klingons and the Romulans and the fight that happened with the Enterprise C. And he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's like, of course not, man. You know, it was just this, you know, it's you're just doing you're doing the story of the moment. That's okay. But it's true. And it's like, what do you want to do? Well, I really want to do a bunch of things that would make no sense for the Picard character, but they're important to me as a person. Hey, great. Well, I got him back. I don't know. I'm so divided on, as much as Picard season 1 and 2 were shit, I can't deny that it's like, even in a shitty thing, like Generations, for all its flaws, it's like, yeah, but there's glimpses of Kirk, and Kirk has a couple moments, and beautiful day.
It was fun.
And his last words is when his eyes glaze over, and oh my, that's beautiful, man. Yeah. That God only knows what that means, and
that's what I was gonna say. I always wonder, what did he see at that moment? I'm like, that's a movie, that's a book right there. That oh my, what is that?
Covered in Crucible, the James Kirk version, the 3rd volume of the Star Trek trilogy of Crucible. So you get a lot.
You get to find out what oh my.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's what's interesting about all 3 books. And even again, the Kirk book was not as good. I'm glad I read it though. And there are great moments that are unfilmed moments, but you know what's happening, and it's great. But again, the McCoy book I can't recommend enough, and the Spock book is actually very, very good as well. So, all right, we can wrap. God damn, man, 2 hours.
I know. We go on.
That's good.
I can hear Generations dialogue in my head. What's the name of that planet again? You say the odds are against us and this and that. Sounds like fun. And they do. I go, yeah. And then I'm like, what happened?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know. And a shitty death. A very
you
shitty
go to these movies, you get all excited. You're like, this is going to be great. Look, Indiana Jones, he's swinging. He's what is this crystal? Why is John Hurt acting like an idiot? What's happening? Boom.
Have you ever read those Shatner, Judith, and Gar Reeves Stevens books?
Yes. No, I read those when the Borg bring him back with the nanites. Yeah.
Yeah. The first couple were really good.
Yeah. Then it went off the track.
Trailed off. But no, and I love the idea of James Kirk being in the Next Gen era, and even finally reuniting with McCoy and Spock.
Scotty was in it because they stole the museum ship, the Constellation thing, the Constitution, whatever. Yeah. Spock was in it. Old Spock was in it. Old McCoy. No, they were good. They were fun.
No,
and then it got too much. I read like 3 of them, and then it was like, you got to stop.
Well, and they brought Tiberius back from the Mirror Universe. Yeah, that's what they called him, Evil Kirk. And it was a good idea, but it went too long. Yeah. What are you gonna do? But I mean, come on, man. It's again, we don't kill these characters. We love these characters, and that's why I gotta confess, guys, as a Bond fan, still have not watched No Time to Die. I don't want to see James Bond die. I don't.
I don't think it happened. I just go, he swam. The thing blew up. You never saw a body. If you don't, it's a comic book. If you don't see a body.
It's just like Batman when he flew off with the bomb.
3 seconds. Boom. Was that a real thing that Alfred saw, or was it an imagination? They leave it up in the air.
They said the autopilot was fixed.
I always thought he got away.
I love that scene.
But he got away, but the real Bruce Wayne would never go taken off on Gotham and leave him there to go hook up with the Catwoman. That's never going to happen.
But it's funny because, as I just said, no. Much like it's Daniel Craig's James Bond that died. Yeah. I do see what's his face? Why am I blanking on his name? The actor from the Nolan movies, from the Christopher Nolan Batman movies.
Oh, Christopher Bale.
Christopher Bale.
Last name?
Bale. B-A-L-E.
Bale. Christian Bale.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. I do. The way they wrote it, I do see him walking away.
Do you really?
Yeah.
And especially given that Tommy from Third Rock from the Sun is going to be Robin over the Batcave.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Gordon-Levitt, absolutely.
Yeah, man. And the autopilot was fixed. Who fixed the autopilot? Oh, look, the initials, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Gordon-Levitt was at Mohegan Sun the night on Thursday night filming his new TV show when we were all there. We were loading in and he was loading out. He has whole film crew. Yeah.
I was in the Prudential Building in Chicago when they were filming Dark Knight.
Oh.
And I only saw props and various things, but our morning guy was parking, and Heath Ledger was tooling around on a skateboard in full
Nice.
Joker makeup, waiting for his scene and stuff. And
That's
at the
cool.
same time, the same summer, they were shooting Wanted, and I saw the beautiful red convertible that Angelina Jolie is
Angelina
draped
Jolie,
over
yeah.
and everything. But the best was they kept the Batmobile underground in this like great Lower Wacker Drive area where,
yeah.
in fact, you see it in
The movie.
first movie, Batman Begins.
Yeah.
That's where Maroni has his meeting with Bruce and everything. That's in one of the restaurants that's down there.
Yeah.
But there's like tons of parking, and they had the Batmobile over under a drop cloth, and it was so great because all these great like total Chicago's. Hey, nice. Listen, I'm gonna pull up the drop cloth. That's me and the Batmobile over by there. Fantastic. And it was so many great like fan pictures of, hey, how you doing? Here I am. So goddamn great.
No, Chicago's a great place for movies. The Fugitive is a great one. I love watching that one. John Candy, Only the Lonely. They were filming that when I was in Chicago. I was there. They were like right
That's
there on Wells near where the Cubs play. Wrigley Field.
No, they were at Comiskey. They were at Comiskey.
Oh, Comiskey. Okay, I was like, who's that? They go, that's John Candy. He's got his trailer here, and it was the girl from Breakfast Club was in
Ali
Sheedy. Ali
Sheedy.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's the original Mike and Molly. That's what Mike and Molly is based on.
I guess
it's
so.
based on that story. Absolutely, man. So Langley remembers absolutely, absolutely, man. And Ed is right. You know, even though at the end of No Time to Die,
it said James Wan will return. We don't know how.
Well, but again, you know, Amazon just bought all of MGM's.
Yeah, that's true.
Assets. What do you got there?
And if you go to Simon Fraser University, you would have seen this area in a ton of movies.
Oh, cool.
Because it's sort of like this underground area, and they filmed it for Stargate, for the Underworld movies. So if you're in Vancouver and you need this kind of futuristic looking area, they go up to Simon Fraser, which is on a hill, and they film in this little area.
Yeah.
That's in Dark Knight when the Bat Cycle is inside and it's passing all the shops and stuff. That's the walkway that I would take from parking my car.
Oh, no kidding.
It's the basement of the Prudential building where I broadcast from. And oh my God, all of us are like, oh, that's awesome. Batman's in our building. That's fantastic. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we can go. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
How sad is it that we know all our landmarks? I'm in London. My wife goes, "Oh, you've never been here." I go, "Are you kidding me? Spider-Man fought Mysterio right there on the London Tower Bridge, and over there is where Thor fought the Malachi and the Dark Elves over by that building." She's like, "Your only knowledge of London is from movies." I go, "Doctor Strange fought the Illuminati right here at the British Museum." She's like, "This is creepy." I'm like,
"You were there right before the Queen died, correct?"
I left the day she died. I had nothing to do with it. My wife called and she stayed over there and she said, "Oh, they said the Queen died." I said, "Oh no, they said that she's sick." She goes, "No, they're saying she's dead." And sure enough,
yeah, that whole day, I was watching one of the news shows at like 5 a.m. my time, and they're like, "Yeah, it doesn't look good for the Queen."
Yeah, no, they were like over in England. They kind of knew, and they said that they were going to wait till the evening to tell everybody. It's like they knew about it. She's like, "Yeah, it was just like they thought it'd be proper if they waited till everyone got home and then they announced it." I'm
sure. And it's sad because she had welcomed the new prime minister.
Yeah, on Monday. Yeah, she was on the news
2 days earlier. Yeah.
So, okay, everybody, go make sure you pick up Alex Ross's new book, The Fantastic Four: Full Circle, right there, kiddies.
And that volume is sold out at all the stores.
Sold out right here too. Look at that.
Oh my God! Yeah, the origin. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that amazing?
Gorgeous.
He's the man. No, Alex is amazing, and I'm so glad that, you know, this was the thing he wanted to do as far as going back to doing interiors. You know, it's tough. And again, it had been 10 years since he did any sort of interiors. It was that Thy Kingdom Come tie-in from the JSA comic back in the day. Yeah. So, yeah. There you go. Like, Ed says, I feel for you, Mitch. Everything I learned about classical music.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about that. Yeah. Bugs Bunny. Figaro. Shave and haircut.
Kill the rabbit. Kill the
rabbit. That's Wagner. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. That's Elmer Fudd.
Magic helmet.
Hopefully Sal Abernathy's watching, because I wrote to him last week to see about coming to Terrificon, so maybe he could answer his emails.
We'll see.
I'm plugging you, Sal. It's his anniversary today. Sal's anniversary today.
I know. I saw the photos on Facebook. So I've yet to meet Sal's wife. She's
She's lovely.
I'm sure she is.
And Anna
she would have to be to
Put up with
tolerate
him,
Sal.
yeah.
And
Jesus Christ.
Anna is just like Sal.
The
His
daughter?
Oh yes.
She
Chip
swears
off
like
the
a
old
trooper.
block.
I haven't met either of the kids.
Anthony's really sweet. He's like his mom, but Anna, wow, she is Sal.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, gentlemen.
All right,
well
that's
done.
it.
Great conversation. Great comments, everybody, as always. Really appreciate it. Join us again next week. We'll talk Andor. We'll talk She-Hulk.
Franco will
we'll
be
talk
back.
about another bullshit episode of Lower Decks. But until then, live long and prosper. Take care, everybody.